All right, ladies and gents. Hopefully we actually have an actual conversation. Hopefully. If this is a troll, then it's a troll. It is what it is. I'm actually coming into this in good faith because I will be friends with no, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say something crazy. I was going to say I will befriend the slave master if it comes to the better good for Spider-Man. But no, I'm not going to be crazy like that. What what we're about to go. I'm about to go into they have a Discord. I'm going into the Discord. Hopefully we get some productive discussion. I assume it's gonna be good. We get some good ideas rolling and flowing and going. That's the plan. That's always been the plan. Just so we're clear. So, excuse me. How's everybody doing today? On this Saturday, right? Saturday. Yeah, it's Saturday. All right. Let's we're joined up. I'm linked up. All right, wait, where's the group? Oh. Oh, I have to join the call.
Hello.
Hello, hold up, let me fix the audio. There we go. Can you hear me? You guys are very low. Let me see if I can turn this up. Can you say something?
Hello.
There we go. Awesome. I got you.
Alrighty. How are we doing today?
We're doing amazing so far.
Sweet.
All right. I thought we'd start off by I guess you telling us what you got so far or something, so we can just kind of, or like, what did you, or actually, it's probably better to start off like, what did you want us to contribute?
If you guys have any ideas.
Okay.
So what I have right now is you guys saw, I don't know if you guys saw the inspiration, but the inspiration, I want the mechanic, I don't know if you guys played Neo Path of Neo, but I like the mechanic of being able to handle 2 to 3 people actively as opposed to passively with Arkham Knight, where you have to counter and wait for them to attack. So I want both of those included. In addition to that, as far as art style, we're going with Arcane meets Arkham Knight. So it's more of a stylistic choice, but it's rooted in more of a realistic sense of New York. So the atmosphere is New York. Well, the story is, Green Goblin, Emerald Titan is kidnapped. Mary Jane, or we'll obviously rename her for licensing. Mary Jane and Spider-Man, and he has to fight through these arenas to get her back. That's the concept. We're obviously going to fix the story. It's not finalized. We're going to have, Mysterio in there, maybe some Chameleon to get a little plot twist. But as far as combat goes, the goal is to have the player be able to take on 3 and possibly 4 guys at the same time. Pause. One of the mechanics is going to be, I want to focus more on agility. So the 3 pillars are stylistic realism. I haven't settled on air combos yet because I feel like that's a crutch in many of the games. So that's a possibility. If I get enough funding, I would like to incorporate wall combat, but that would be way down the road. But stylistic realism, the environment is your ally. So one thing I think a lot of games have missed in the scope of combat is the ally. So I've been going through a whole bunch of Spider-Man comics. He throws people into trash cans. I don't know if you guys play Sleeping Dogs, but I want that level of interactivity with the environment, of throwing people into trash cans, using pipes to knock people out, stuff like that.
I'm like, from what you're describing, would it, like, the level and story structure be like Sifu kind of to an extent?
Yes, that's how we're looking at it right now, because I think that's the most bang for your buck as far as given the budget. It's going to be
Yeah.
more focused on gameplay and animation. So if I can cheat on like level design or like, uh, you know, art style to get to put more focus and emphasis on that, that's going to be the goal. The three main mechanics that I have stem honestly from a talk with Platinum Games. It's going to be the agility mechanic. Now with the not the agility mechanic, I'm sorry, the dodge mechanic, which heightens the agility. So when it comes to the dodge, there is no counter, right? I feel he's fast enough where he can dodge an attack. So upon someone attacking you, you can dodge it, and if someone's behind you, he'll hit the person behind you. So if someone has a weapon, you dodge it, at the right time. They hit the person behind you. So in some cases, you can use the enemy's weapon to, as an AOE effect. The other mechanic, upon doing a perfect dodge, which would be, dodging within a few seconds of being attacked, you now have other options. So you have the option of damage. So you can, hit square or whatever, and you get a damage. Damage does high damage, of course. Low stun. You have the option of doing a stun, which would be like some type of web attack, I'm thinking, which would do high stun, but low damage. Now, upon someone being stunned, that leads to finisher takedown, and it leads to opening up to do like, to do a 2 or 3 person finisher takedown move or whatnot. And then the last one, I haven't decided. I think I may end it there. But the last one was going to be more of an evade attack, where it does moderate damage, but high pushback. So there's not stun, but you get a little bit of damage, but it's just to clear yourself out of the room. When we get into, let's see, I'm trying to think. The taunt mechanic. So one of the mechanics of the taunt that I'm still working on and fleshing out is, say you're doing a combo, boom, 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 and in between the combo, you can hold down and push the taunt mechanic. That taunt mechanic is going to be a risk reward. Now, the reward, still working on that, but obviously it would have, increase your bonus output as far as points gained, which would then, go into unlockables and stuff like that. But the risk that I've fleshed out is that on enemies, it can cause them, if you do it too much, there's an enrage meter. If you're enraging too much, well, they have 3 different types of mutations. They can either have a damage buff, which of course that makes them stronger. They can mutate. So certain enemies, like the soldiers that I'm thinking of, well, they'll have a goblin serum and they inject themselves and they'll become this, goblin monstrosity, which is what you don't want. And then the third one is that they change their playstyle. So if he's doing a melee attacks and he gets fully enraged, well, now he's going to change up and start trying to grab you. He'll become a grappler. So there's those mechanics. Now, if you dodge at the last second, I want some type of mechanic where, if you dodge at the last second, there's some benefit to it. Because I don't want it to be just people, punch, dodge. Obviously, you'll be punished if you dodge at the wrong time. But I want it to be some type of skill, like the active reload in Gears of War, where if you hit it at the right second, you get a damage boost to shooting. Where if you don't hit it, it takes longer for you to reload. So I haven't fleshed that out yet. Some niceties that I would like, obviously, would be delayed combos. Upon perfect dodging, say you perfect dodge 5 times in a row. Those numbers, I'm just throwing them out there. But 5 times in a row. You dodge so many times that now everything becomes slow-mo. Where now they actually are moving in slow-mo, and it's, it's very much from, Spider-Man 1 where the hand is going. That's how it feels. You're just taking 3 and 4 and 5 guys out. I'm thinking dodging. So there's a hypersense bar. The hypersense bar is kind of like the focus bar. It's kind of like the matrix, bar that allows you to do cool stuff. What I'm thinking is, because how I explain the spider sense, because it's not spider sense. We're going to call it web sense or something. But it sends out a pulse, kind of like a spider who's on a web. So how it detects danger is if you're in this, this vicinity of his web, which is practically everywhere. And it takes a little bit of energy out of the hypersense every single time you dodge. Now, the reward is that upon you perfect dodging, it takes nothing. The hypersense bar remains, it doesn't deplete at all. So there's an incentive for you to master the timing of the perfect dodge. Other aspect is going to be camera tokens. So, that would be a nicety to add. I really want to include that. It'd be so you take certain pictures from Jonah. He gives you this. You have to, do a 3-hit combo or, something you want to picture at the end of this combo or tie someone up to a lamppost and take a picture, stuff like that. So I still have to figure out the mechanics of how to, so it's not intrusive upon the combat to take a picture while fighting. Or it's automated, possibly. You have to go into certain areas like they did in Spider-Man 1, I believe, with, what's her name? Screwball. And then that leads to maybe, I'm thinking of announcers. So I don't know if you take enough, you do all of Jonah's missions or his pictures, and now you get him as an announcer. So throughout you playing the game, you get Jonah, criticizing your gameplay as you're like, oh, you got lucky, or like, oh, get him, as you're playing throughout the game, and you'll be able to unlock certain announcers based off of the criteria you fulfill. So maybe Mary Jane, Jonah, Eddie Brock, or maybe Venom, stuff like that. Possibility. I would like to have a web upgrade, so where durability upgrade, where a certain webbing upon you webbing them up, it'll hold them down for longer. I want the web to be used as the bullets in Devil May Cry. So I want them to kind of be used to extend combos and stuff like that, as opposed to just knocking people out. Then there's, we have Takedown, like TASM 2 on Brutes. So I don't know if you remember TASM 2 when it came to the lizard and how he, went around him and webbed him up. I want that to be, more on bigger brute enemies. Disarm multiple enemies with the super as an upgrade. That's another one. Enemies down could be used. This is something I was thinking of yesterday when I saw NBA Street Home Court. But enemies down could possibly use as like a jump off to do other attacks and stuff like that. So once you punch someone and they're down on the ground trying to catch their breath, you can jump off of them and take out, 2 guys at the same time, something like that. And then the last one was the web linking. So the concept behind web linking was from Sifu. So you don't have Sifu, you can hold down the button, it'll show you little points to hit, and you get, gouge someone's eyes out, or blah, blah. Yeah. So the concept is, in a lot of the comics that I've seen, Spider-Man's jumping over people and stuff like that and webbing someone. He'll web someone in the face while he's punching a guy, in his chest, while kicking another guy in his leg. So the concept behind that is, upon you dodging over these people, you can at any moment in time slow down time and use like web linking. And web linking will allow you to have 3 points. As of right now, I'm thinking it'll be the head, the arm, and the foot. So you'll of course have people who are grapplers or who run after you and chase you and stuff like that. So that's where you would probably web up their feet to immobilize them. You have the head, so that would cause them to do an AoE effect. So there'd be different effects on different enemies. So if someone's holding a gun, you web them, you do a web link, you web their face. They then start shooting randomly, in the area until you knock them out. You web someone who's trying to attack you, or who's, I don't know, maybe gone crazy due to the serum. You web up their feet. Well, they'll attack anyone who gets near them because, they're going crazy or whatever. You web them to the chest. That's like an automatic disarm, which webs them, to the wall or to the ground or wherever they're the closest to. Now, obviously, that would take more out of the. I'm thinking it'll be taken out of the hypersense bar, depending on which one you use.
Can I ask a question real quick?
I'm
assuming like the web linking stuff is gonna have like physics, like the web lines will have physics so that they can like bend and like move enemies into enemies or something like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of having the possibility, right, where you can web link one person's face, another person's face, and then cause them, they come together and they get knocked out, or web someone's face to someone's foot, or web someone, stuff like that.
Yeah,
based off of those 3 options.
Yeah, one of the ideas that I had a while back for like the Insomniac games was like you could do that kind of web linking you're talking about, like where you like have like a physics-based like web line attached to 2 people, and then you kind of like point launch in the middle of the web line, and they kind of just like bonk heads.
Mm-hmm.
So I think something like that would be cool.
Yeah, and because I also wanted to possibly be able. There has to be something behind it that causes someone to slow down time and actually do a head or do a chest or do a foot, as opposed to, because I wanted to have like a quick launch where you can, take down 3 people and just, quick launch, web link 2 heads together, or, immobilize them, some type of a shortcut to the D-pad or some of the controls. But as of right now, that's the basis. So, the spider tokens, I have spider tokens and then scraps, because I think upon you beating up enemies, they'll drop like scraps and stuff like that, and I think that's how you upgrade maybe the durability of your web shooters and stuff like that to create stronger web shooters. The spider tokens, for suits, combat upgrades, things like that. Now, what I would like to have extras would be photo mode. The announcer was one of them, a training arena and modifiers, customization of the suits. So someone was telling me about customization of suits. That's something I want to include in the game. Now, it obviously wouldn't be a full customization of the suit. So I'm thinking of maybe, lens, some article of clothing, and then, lens, chest, and like feet or something like that. And then you get a color picker, and you can choose whatever colors you want to do. And then obviously suit damage.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right.
As far as working with the web mechanics, what are some things you had in mind for that? Because I know in the comics there's a lot of, even in some adaptations, there's like crazy combinations you can use, whether it be splitting the webs, making the web into a shield, making it into a parachute, all kinds of stuff like that. So what's cooking in the mind in terms of how you want to make the webs like stand out to the player?
Well, what I was considering, it's not just something out there, but what I was considering was actually having web weapons, right? Of him having like a web bat, a web shield, and you switching between these three or so, depending on, what's being presented to you.
So would you get like a new fighting style, I'm assuming, when you like get those weapons?
I didn't want to do a new fighting style because I feel like that would take so much time. And I think all the money would go into that because you have to balance that with the enemies and the environment.
Yeah. So are you thinking about adding like any kind of like gadgets or something, or would it just be like strictly no gadgets?
Strictly web.
Yeah, so could you have stuff like maybe ricochet webs or like big web line? Like, I'm trying to think of things that would just like don't really necessarily relate to gadgets, but like it would just fit in as web shooters like they do in the comics still.
Well, one mechanic I have for healing, right? He automatically heals, regenerative factor, healing factor. But if you get damaged enough, you can use like a few web cartridges or part of your web bar to do a cocoon and heal you. That was one concept.
So what's the physics system going to be like for the enemies? Like, is it going to be more floaty like the Insomniac games, or like DMC or God of War, or is it going to be more like...
I say it'd be more... The closest thing I'm thinking, it would probably be like Arkham.
Arkham? Okay.
Yeah.
And you said the air combo stuff was going to be like a...
I just didn't want to use air combos. Because I think there are a lot of games that don't use them, and they're pretty solid. Like Arkham, Sifu... there are a variety of games. If I get through first playable and we're like, this isn't cutting it, then yeah, I would use air combos. But at the same time, one thing I would like to include in air combos would obviously be, dual air takedowns, or having the player to be able to use, there's a verticality to the combat. So there are certain weapons that you can use on the ground while you jump in the air that allows you to have access to other weapons. So maybe a pole or something, upon you jumping, you weren't able to reach it, while you're on the ground. But in the air, now it has a different way to, attack enemies, right? Where maybe on the ground, it was like an area of effect where it knocks a bunch of people out. Where in the air, as you're in the air, now you can do more of a one person takedown with it. Stuff them in a pipe or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, all I would say is I feel like air combos, I would personally say, just from me, I think air combos are kind of like necessity to like to making that kind of Spider-Man experience. Again, I'd probably, like, maybe the opinion will change if I was to play whatever you got when it's like almost close to development or whatever.
Is that specifically due to the character, or is that due to gameplay? Because would you want air combos in Arkham?
Yeah, I mean, anything that adds an extra layer to the dimension of the gameplay, like if you get more combos and stuff when you're in the air as opposed to when you're on the ground, that's just more variety in combat and adds an extra dimension to it. The thing about Arkham, like granted, I think Arkham has a great combat system, but it's a lot more rigid. As opposed to something like again the Insomniac games, like those games, like they allow for a lot more creativity and expression, whereas the Arkham games, they're more strict with what you do.
Then again,
So
I would expect like a Spider-Man game to be more like dynamic in what you can do.
yeah,
More variety.
I mean,
But
like
does
even
that include
Arkham,
air combat, or would it be suffice to have, let's say, the God of War version of air combat?
yeah, the God of War, yeah, that would be
Because I just feel
fine.
like
I'm
that's
not,
so that
I don't need
it's
it
so
to, yeah,
gamey
like
to me.
I don't think it needs to be like how Insomniac does their air combos or whatever, or even Web of Shadows does their air combos. I think the God of War style stuff could be fine, like because there is plenty of combos that you can pull off with like the older God of War games. I think so. Another idea I think could possibly be used is like it's kind of two ideas in one, and it kind of stems off like one thing. It's like you said you wanted like the environment to be your friend. You want to like pick up stuff in the environment and like use
Yeah.
it to your advantage, right?
Well,
So
the
like
thing
if you have
is that
like
enemies can use it too. So either you
yeah,
get to
yeah.
it first, or they do.
And I'm assuming you could probably pull out the stuff out of enemies' hands if they
Yeah.
grab it for you, right?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
well.
okay.
Yeah. There's a grab mechanic, so you can use like a door from a car as a shield or something like that, or use it to attack people, or
Yeah,
a tire and stuff like
that's
that.
actually what I was about to say. Like I think if you were to implement, I don't know if you've seen this fan made game. It's like a Spider-Man swinging simulator. It's got like manhole surfing.
Yeah, I've talked to him.
Um,
Sarp Scepter. Yeah, I've talked to him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I asked him if he could do like if he was doing combat or something because I thought it would be interesting if you could like use that manhole kind of like Captain America's shield in combat. Like you throw it at someone and they like the shield bounces back or like it may bounce in a different direction and then you could like then the manhole cover itself would be an interactable object. So like if you were to shoot like a web line, you can either like use your little web link mechanic and like maybe function similarly to like a trip mine and like pull them towards the manhole and like push them in the air or something. And then
Gotcha.
like or like you could have like something like a ricochet web where you throw a manhole cover, it bounces in the air, and then you like ricochet a web off of someone and then they come towards you and then maybe you like clothesline them or some shit.
So I was definitely thinking of the clothesline with the web line, but what did you say about as far as the ricochet with the manhole cover?
So, can you see if I was to stream in Discord, would you be able to see it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Let me go to. Um, I'm gonna show you this for visual reference. You can't really do it in the game. Oh wait, hold up. I gotta. Just give me 1 second. All right, so like let's say hypothetically I have this like thing right here, right? Like you can't really it's not like functional to be an exact visual representation, but like imagine I throw this and then like I use the little aim mechanic and it like slows down time and then I like bounce a ricochet
I
web
can't
off
see
of like
anything.
oh, you can't see anything?
Can you see something, SK?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay,
So
maybe it's just me. Okay, there we go. There we go.
Okay, so like
Wait,
hypothetically,
shit.
like you throw like the manhole cover, right, like this, and then you like you aim. You know how they got the little aim mechanic in this game where it like slows down time with your
Uh-huh.
web shooters. So like you bounce a web off of this, and then it would like hit an enemy, and then they would either come towards you or they would go somewhere else, and then you can like still pull them back towards you.
So
Or
ricochet your web. So wait, hold on. Do you mean like did you ever play the Wanted game?
no,
Okay, so have you seen the movie?
no.
Okay, so there's this concept with Angelina Jolie where you can like curve bullets. So is that what you're saying? Like, say you throw a manhole cover at someone, it hits them in the
It
head.
would be more. I mean, if you want it to be manual for a higher skill ceiling, that would be fine. But like how the ricochet web works in like this game, for example, it's kind of just an automatic targeting system. So like if you have like your programmers or whatever, like they make it so that the ricochet web mixes well with those combos off of the thing. Like if you wanted to make it a game mechanic, it could work. But yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to understand because it's I'm a little slow. So
All right. All right.
so you throw.
I'll get into it. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me get to a combat thing real quick.
The manhole cover ricocheting off of enemies, and maybe it pulls them in closer to you while they're off guard. The manhole. Oh,
So-
is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So like, let's say I like punch an enemy in the air.
Uh-huh.
Let's say there's a manhole cover behind him right now. I could like shoot that web and it would bounce back towards him, and he would come back towards me, and I could like kick him in the face or something, you know?
Gotcha. So the ricochet would have to be a mechanic in the game then.
Yeah. And it could be like either automatic or not. It wouldn't really matter. But as far as like, you could even stretch it to like outside of manhole covers. Like that would just be something like creative to do. Like something that you can already do in like this game, for example. You can like, one second. You can like, you know, like punch an enemy, do that, and then like ricochet. Oh my god, can you fuck off? You can like pull an enemy in the air and then like bounce off them, and then like, you know, if I was to like ricochet this web off like a street lamp, it would like, you know, knock them towards you or knock them to a random place, you know what I mean?
So use someone as like a combo extender.
Yeah, it would be kind of like a setup move. That could also be like, yeah, it would be more of a setup move that you'd use to string into your combos.
Okay, ricochet. Interesting.
But like even with the manhole cover, which is why I think it would be like cooler, like for the creativity aspect, like it would just be more like, let's say I throw the manhole cover at this guy, it bounces up in the air, and then I have to like time it, like I have to aim and then fucking time it, and then I ricochet it off the thing or whatever, and like while it's still midair, and then like this guy, he would like come towards me. And I would
Okay.
just like.
Wait,
know.
have you played it's what, My Friend Pablo? I think that's what it's called.
I have not.
So there's like a mechanic where like you can ricochet bullets off of a frying pan. You shoot somebody, so something like that. Okay.
Yeah, that would probably be like, I probably don't need to see gameplay. I just like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Another thing, well, like even with with these games specifically, the reason I'm saying like air combos would be like something that just adds another layer. It's like, I think this bounce mechanic, if you were to like, you know, maybe take inspiration, like when you can, you know, how you can like bounce people off of like the concrete and stuff. Yeah, so like I think one thing that I was disappointed that they didn't add in this game was like the ability to like, you know, have that not just when you bounce them on the floor, but also when you like bounce them off of like a wall like that, for example. Like they don't bounce back. Like if I was to do this, they would just, you know, slam into the wall. They don't bounce back. I think if that was to be expanded upon, that could also be something that could be used creatively.
Gotcha. Because I was thinking of, I wanted to, you know, them to bounce on the ground, bounce on the wall, just to be combo friendly to the player.
Yeah.
But I was trying to see how to do that in like a combo possibly. I'm thinking maybe there's, you know, a sweep, because someone was mentioning a sweep the other day, where it's included in the combo, and upon doing the sweep, you know, there's like a slow-mo of them in the air, and that leads to either you can kick them and that knocks them to the, you know, other opponent. You can, you know, punch them and then I'll bounce them up, you know, for a setup for a combo. You can grab them and, you know, swing them around, stuff like that. So upon with that one little, you know, them being knocked off of their balance leads to a variety of things. Or you can, you know, do a link attack or something.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that would be cool as well. I think another thing you could probably add is like, let's say you lift an enemy in the air, and then you like, you know, in this game you can like leap off them. If you like, you know, you have a mechanic where that you can like pull them back towards you while you're midair and then punch them as well. There's like a finisher in the game that kind of looks like it. I don't know. I'd have to get the specific finisher, but like.
So like a grab, essentially.
Yeah, like pretty much, like, you know how in the Arkham games when you like back claw someone and they like come back towards you, or even like even in this game, and you like you're on the ground, and you can like pull them back towards you and like kick them in the face. If that was like you could do that in air as well, that would also be cool.
But that would, of course, lead to air combos.
Yeah, that would lead to air combos.
What happens if you punch them up and then you just web them back to you or something?
Like in this game or your game?
Like yeah, like in the game, my game.
So you punch them up like this, I'm assuming, and then you web them. Would you be in the air or on the ground when you do that?
You'd be in the ground.
Okay, so you like, oh shit.
So maybe there'd be like an air to ground combo or something where you punch them, they bounce up off the ground, you web them from the air back to the ground, knock them, bounce them again, something like that. Okay. What was I think it was Web of Shadows. No, not Web of Shadows. It was Shattered Dimensions, I think, where if you you could punch someone and upon them being in the air, you could just web grab them, and just keep bouncing them up on the ground until they were dead. They even had that in I think God of War.
You're talking about the web surfing? I mean the surfing mechanic in Web of Shadows?
No. It was Shattered Dimensions, and they also have it in God of War, where you can bounce one off the ground, grab them again, and then keep on bouncing them off of the ground.
Was it in the first God of War game? I don't
Possibly. It was. I know it was in God of War. I think it could have been in the third one, but I know it was God of War 1 and 2.
Okay. I don't remember that specifically what it looked like. I think I know what you're talking about.
So they would bounce up in the air. As in the air, you would push grab, and you would grab them and bounce them off of the ground, and they would go up in the air again. So it'd be like a forever loop of them being bounced back, bounced in the air.
Like this? Something like this? Is that what you're talking about?
I can't. For some reason, my computer is screwing up.
Okay.
But what are you doing?
Kind of just dribbling people.
Then yes, it would be in essence yes, kind of like dribbling someone.
Okay.
Like you use them as like a yo-yo or like a basketball.
Yeah. I think that could be neat. So as far as your dodge mechanic, would it be? You said it would be more manual, not like you press a button and it does it.
No,
for
you would have to. I wanted to incorporate like Elden Ring. So in Elden Ring, one thing I like is
I thought it was going to be more similar to like how Sifu's dodge mechanic works.
Well, yes. Yeah, it's going to be similar to how that works, but what I like is the delayed timing and like combos in Elden Ring. So I think that's where the challenge is going to be of knowing, this person does 2 hits, delays, and then a final third hit.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
That works.
But the thing is, you can't be dodging because it's going to deplete your hypersense. So the best thing you can do would be doing a perfect dodge, which doesn't deplete your hypersense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think another thing that would incentivize that too is like if you're not gonna have a parry mechanic, something that like diverses enemies' attacks to keep the player more engaged. Like I think if you had like certain enemy types that you have to perfect dodge, that would also be something that would add more engagement.
I agree. The only issue I have with that is what about the people who can't perfect dodge? That's the only thing, because I feel like
who can't perfect dodge.
Yeah, the players who can't perfect dodge, because it pigeonholes them into mastering this mechanic, and there's no other option, right? Because like in Spider-Man 2, if you can't, parry, you can always jump, right? Jump over them and evade. If it's only perfect dodging, then what else can how can the player do something else if they can't do that?
I mean, I would say it's kind of like something that would just be part of the skill ceiling. I feel like you need to. Yeah, I mean, you could have like.
But there's nothing in Spider-Man that forces you to do parry.
I mean, yeah, if you're not, I mean, you can like in this game, you can like charge jump up or something.
Do you think it's more fun when a game forces you to do something?
Yes, I do. Like,
really?
That's why I still think like the newer God of War games, for example, except for like the 2018 one, I think they would have better combat.
So it's like a demanding of skill. Like, hey, you either master this or you die. Okay. I always figured that people would be upset at that.
No, I think, so like when you have mechanics that like not only like it forces you to do, but like even if you don't want to force them, like you said, the thing was like, it adds to your hypersense bar or whatever. I think that's something that would be interesting. It would just be like, what's the extent of like your reward that you get when it adds to your hyper sense bar? Like, do you get more moves out of it? Like in Arkham, when you like, you get a certain combo and then you can do like special combo finishers and stuff. Do you get like more moves out of it when your hyper sense bar is full? Do you said you move faster? I remember you
So when
saying
it
that.
comes to hypersense bar, that's still being fleshed out. But what I was thinking of is having, and this may be removed, but you know how in Arkham Knight they have like the multiple takedown, and it like slows down and lets
Yeah.
you do that. So I was
The
thinking
two
of something like
multi-takedown.
that with the hypersense bar, right? Where maybe you have 3 slots, and it takes like 3 slots for you to do like an automatic, and the camera slows down, and you have that. Or I was
Yeah.
thinking you go the route where, once your hypersense bar is activated, it can unleash when I was talking about the perfect dodge, you perfect dodge so many times it slows down everything. I was thinking of just doing that, but with the hypersense bar. Yeah, the fear
Okay.
takedown.
I
That's what
mean, I don't know if you. I think I know what you're talking about. It's like when you hit a certain combo in Arkham, you like start to like everything around you starts to slow down. You move faster as well, something
It's like
like
more
that.
intense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I think Spider-Man also has something similar. It's like in the first game, but yeah, that I mean that could work. I just feel like you
But I don't
kind
know
of
if
need.
that's a good enough reward.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
I
think
don't.
it is a good enough
That's what I'm
reward.
saying.
That's what I was gonna say. That's why I'm saying I think it should be both like something that adds to combos that you can do, and like if you don't want to go the route of like there's certain enemies that you have to, or they have certain attacks that you have to perfect dodge. Like even in boss fights, like if you want to do boss fights, I think a problem with like Spider-Man PS4 for example is like all you have to do really is just dodge their attacks, and there's no like. That's why I think like the second game like vastly improved the boss fights with the parry system because it has linking move, or even like Sekiro or Elden Ring, any of those games, they have like linking move sets that you have to you know it's like there's multiple things you have to do. It's not just dodging. It's either parrying or perfect dodging for your game for that context.
Got you. Do you have any ideas as far as the hypersense meter? Say it's being completely full. Um,
I
because
say when it's completely full, you could get like so is your combo how are the move system how's the move system gonna work? I don't think I asked about that yet.
what do you mean the
Like
move
is it gonna
system?
be so is it gonna be like DMC where you have like button combos and that's how you pull off certain moves? Or is it gonna be more like, what's a good example? Like God of War. I mean God of War is kinda similar to DMC where you have like the newer God of War games, I guess.
Well, don't they have button combos?
No, yeah, I know they have button combos, but it's more like it's not as what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as
What, flowing?
they're just yeah, it's not it's just very different styles of
No,
combat.
I want everything to flow, and I wanted you to
Okay.
be able to because he's so fast. Obviously, you'll be able to interrupt combos at any time. Now, the whole
Yeah.
point of the taunt mechanic, I want that to act as, in Bayonetta where you dodge perfectly and it doesn't. You can continue on with your combo.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called. I think it's dodge offset or something like that.
Mhm.
I want the taunt mechanic to act as that. So you punch, 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 taunt, gain some points or whatever the reward is for that, and then continue on with your combo. Because I want to add
Right.
some character to the fighting.
hmm I mean, yeah, the taunt mechanic sounds like an interesting idea. I think the reward for that taunt mechanic is what's gonna make or break it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean that's
Because
a
there has to be a
solid
reason
idea.
for you to do it, other than it
Yeah.
looking, fun or flashy or something like that. There has to be some
hmm
incentive behind that.
Yeah, whether it's like getting your health boost or fucking getting faster or adding to that hypersense bar or something, or I think the
Health
hypersense bar
boost. Okay.
specifically, like if you want that to be a core mechanic of the game, that needs to be something that a lot of things like focus on and stem from.
What about the taunt? Upon you doing a perfect taunt or something like that,
It fully, I mean, it could just massively increase the hypersense bar.
Okay. Well, wait, no, because the perfect dodge increases the hypersense bar.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if you do a taunt and it's like, it makes it harder to do the perfect dodge or something like that. Maybe there's like a smaller window to get through perfect dodge through the taunt. If you complete that taunt thing, you would get more
So
like
it'd
credit
be
to
the
the
active
hyper
reload. So
bar.
say for a taunt, you do
Yeah, yeah,
the
pretty
active
much.
reload, then you get extra high percents.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As
What if
opposed to just the
what if it
normal.
actually it recovers your health more?
Yeah, that would be good as well. I mean, it depends. How does it go into? How do you plan to let people regenerate health?
So it's gonna naturally regenerate health. You're gonna naturally regenerate health as long as you stay out of combat. You don't get hit. Um,
Wait,
there's
wait. As long as you stay out of combat or you don't get hit. Like, are those two different things or the same?
well, I would consider them the same. I mean, of course, you can run around and regenerate your health, but I don't think that'd be
I was
fun.
Yeah, yeah, no, I was thinking like when you said out of combat, I thought it was like you can only regenerate when you're done the combat encounter, you know what I mean?
Oh no, no. Although that could force the player to be active, but I have to think about that. That's interesting. Um,
I mean, with the way Sifu has it, like for example, like you regenerate health when you do finishers.
yeah, takedowns.
Uh-huh. You could even have like the how the Insomnia games have it set up where like, you choose between having more moves at your feet with a full hypersense bar or healing yourself. That could be something that would work, I feel.
Well, I think maybe I'll just remove the web bar
The web bar. Is
because I
that
was
like a
because
different mechanic?
yeah. So the web bar was going to be responsible for all your web attacks or any type of web attacks. I think I'm moving away from actually dedicating a button for web attacks and just having it incorporated with like the combo. Like certain combos will include you doing a web attack in it as opposed to others.
Okay.
But as far as the hypersense bar, maybe that's what it does.
I think as far as healing goes, what you might be able to do is make the healing like at such a slow rate when you're like let's say you're running away from the enemy. Let's say the healing is just at an incredibly slow rate. It's still healing, but it's not like quite at a rate that you can rely on. But let's say you actually get into combat, you actually start fighting them, start doing takedowns. That starts to increase it more to a point where it's like it's not just negligible, it's more useful to the player.
So a
I
dodge,
don't know, maybe
the dodge
yeah,
increases the
yeah.
healing.
Yeah, we could do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Um,
that is another thing that would probably
Healing.
incentivize people to perfect dodge. I think with
yeah.
when you
Wait,
do depending on wait, what?
because wait, hold on. Because the perfect dodge was for the hypersense, and the regular dodge was for the health.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
or no?
I mean, like, why? So the regular dodge. So you gain health when you regular dodge. That is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I feel like that's too much
Maybe
of a
That's
reward.
that's yeah. That feels really easy.
Yeah,
That doesn't feel very like engaging. I guess. Like
so.
if you're
Maybe
just
we could restrict the healing to a perfect dodge. Maybe that would work.
but
yeah.
with
I
the
mean,
perfect
you
dodge was
could
the hypersense.
yeah yeah yeah. So I mean, you could just have it do like the system that I said. It's either through finishers that you regain health, or you choose to use your hyper sense
Health.
bar on getting health.
Okay, okay. Because I feel like that's echoing too much of of Spider-Man, PS4 or Spider-Man 2.
Mhm. I mean, I don't really think there's wrong with taking things that have come before. I mean, like you said, you're taking inspiration from other things.
Yeah, but that's
I
like a
mean, I don't
direct rip.
a direct. I mean, is
Finishers
it
to
really?
regain health.
That's. Well, I mean, that would be from Sifu.
That is
I
true.
mean, I can't think of another game that does that necessarily. The
Slow
finishers to
rate.
regain health.
Hmm.
I mean, like,
What happened if you reach a certain level in points or whatever in combos, then you regain health.
sure. I
That
mean,
could
you could.
work.
What if you had it like how this
'Cause-
like a Souls-like game had it, where like if you explore through the levels, like I'm assuming Are the levels only going to be combat? Like it's just you go.
Well, that's
go
the thing.
from
I don't
one
want it
combat
to only
encounter
be
to the next.
combat, but I don't know as far as the complications
Budget.
of having because I would like some type of just to switch it up so it's just not combat, right? Maybe I hate puzzles, but maybe some puzzles or some chase scenes, something to
I
switch
don't.
it up. I don't.
I don't necessarily think it needs to be puzzles. I think just a little bit of exploration to find things that
Like
like
how are you
either
gonna explore, right? There's no web swinging.
no, you don't need web swinger for that. You've played Sifu, right? Like
Yeah.
how they have like little collectibles and things you can
Do
find
you
like just
really want to do that in a Spider-Man game? Is walk
I
around?
I mean, not necessarily walk around, but how are you going to progress to the next combat encounter? I'm assuming you have to walk there, right? Or would you just get loaded to the next one? Like, I'm assuming you have to progress through the level
Yeah.
to get to
I
a
mean, yeah,
combat encounter to
you would
combat
you
encounter.
run throughout the level. Yes.
Yeah, so like within that level, there could be like secret rooms to find that you get rewarded for finding. That's something like because I feel like a big problem that I have with like like DMC for example is that like a lot of their levels just feel like, or even Final Fantasy 16 is probably the most recent example. A lot of those levels don't really have much variety in the gameplay or anything to mix it up. It's kind of just walk through long hallway, get to next combat encounter, and it makes the
Yeah.
level design feel kind of mundane.
That's what it was gonna be.
Yeah. I think, I mean, as far as your budget goes, I don't think it's a necessity, like, if you want to keep it on focused on combat counter, but as far as improving level design, I think that's something you need to have to make, or at least for me personally.
So having some like secret tokens in the level.
Yeah. I mean, you said you wanted, like, photo tokens. I mean, you could probably have
Well,
it
those
so, like,
photos
if you...
tokens were gonna be upon you. I still have to figure out that mechanic. But upon like say JJ wants I don't know you to do 3 combos. So I was thinking either you set up the cameras as there's like some type of way you can set up a camera and it automatically takes shots in that area, or he wants you to get have Spider-Man do a finisher or something like that, and then upon you doing the finisher, the camera automatically takes a shot.
Yeah, that would be good. I think if you want to, so what would be the bonus for, like, I'm assuming they're going to be like challenges or something, like, like, okay, yeah, so like you would get like what, XP for it?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, so I think through this exploration you would find things like when you're going through and finding like the secret rooms, you would also, and on top of finding like health stims that you can upgrade, if that would be a possible another option for healing.
Health
You could
stims.
find health.
Okay,
You could find health stims.
to make your health bar longer. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You could have health stims. You could find damage increases. You could find XP. There's just multiple things you could find to like that would incentivize exploration, so that it's like it makes the levels much less mundane.
What levels are we thinking about? Are you thinking like more of a seafood type level exploration?
Well, that's what I thought you said. The game, like this, the level design, the story structure was going to be similar to with Sifu.
Yeah. Is there a better alternative?
I mean, for the budget, because I think Sifu is also a game with a
Yes.
really small budget. I think
It
for
can't
the
be that
budget,
small. They got monies to do what they did.
No, I actually think Sifu had like, I mean, it wasn't like,
Please don't say anything crazy. If you say
No,
they have 50,
it
okay.
wasn't. No, it wasn't like 100,000. I think it was like maybe a couple million, but like
Okay.
still, like they have
Maybe a couple million. Okay. All
Well,
right.
no. You gotta let me finish. What I'm saying is like the reason I feel like a lot of the budget can come from that is because like they do have like I don't think you, I mean I'm assuming you would want the game to be like a high quality bar, but I think there
Yes,
is gonna
but the
be
thing is,
certain-
I'm gonna have to. So there's obviously I would want to be high quality. So
yeah.
I'm gonna have to limit depending on the team and what's available and what the rates are. I would have to limit obviously how many arenas there are, or the expansion of the arenas based on that budget or based on that quality assurance.
Yeah, so I mean, like, Sifu has, like, 6 levels.
Yeah.
It has a very detailed art style, very detailed environments. I think you can skip out on a lot of, like, the detail stuff because it is an indie game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't necessarily need to have, like, hyper detail stuff. I don't think you're out here trying to win Game of the Year this year or next year or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I think if you cut corners cut things that like AAA games won't cut corners on, like fucking like graphics and detail and fucking shit like that. Like
Yeah.
if you cut those corners, that would you probably wouldn't that would cut down what you need for budget, and it can keep it more focused on like the boss designs, the
Yeah, because
enemy
I want the
designs,
goal
the
is to be
combat.
fun. That's why I really want gameplay overall.
Yeah. I mean, like even the story, like as far as like, I don't. Do you want voice acting or something?
Yeah, I would want some voice acting.
I think that's something that would also add to the budget. So I mean, like if you want to,
Well,
I think.
I think there are people in the community that would want to do voice acting.
Oh,
That
if
I
they do
can
it for
I
free,
think those
yeah,
are
yeah,
Yeah.
people. So,
yeah. If they do it for
you know,
free,
whoever
yeah.
you're
Well,
whoever
even
characters
you
you're
know, give
thinking
them a little
about,
shooky or give them a credit or something.
Hmm.
yeah.
But as far as the healing, okay, so healing rate is slow, obviously. But what do you think about as far as reaching a certain combo to have it, regenerate your health faster? Because I was gonna
Um,
have ghost health, right? I don't know. I'm sure you're familiar with ghost health, right? Where there's a certain amount of health that you can possibly regenerate if you don't take damage.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think it's good. I think it's good, but I think the combo thing should be more centric to like. It would just be more centric to your hypersense bar. Because like, if the hypersense bar would, allow you to pull off more moves and stuff, I feel like having a higher combo would be
Yeah, it
a
makes sense.
better incentive.
So what's another active way as far as regenerating that health bar?
I mean, I can't really think of anything else. I gave like the Souls-like thing. I gave the Insomniac example. I gave like the Sifu example. Maybe like I feel like with a game like the only other thing that I thought of, like the first thing I thought of when you said you regenerated over time was like the Deadpool or X-Men Origins Wolverine game. Uh,
Yes.
that's the only thing I can think of. But I think that system's a bit flawed.
Why?
Uh, Dude, it's just due to the fact that it's just like the other systems that have been put in place are just it's not that it's bad, it's that it could be better. It's
What?
like there's more engaging systems that work better with the systems that you have in place and adds more engagement for the player.
So like the finishers taking part of your hypersense bar and getting in health. More
Yeah.
risk reward as opposed to just slowly waiting for your health to increase.
Yeah, because like if you're slowly waiting for your health to increase, it like
What
there's gonna
happens
be
if
the
enemies drop health?
um that could work. That could work. It just depends on the rate of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, if you balance it out, that would also work.
Drop
Um,
health. Because I want enemies to drop
Just
scraps and stuff to upgrade, your webs or something like that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that would work. It would be kind of
that'd be interesting, yeah.
like the older God of War games.
Yeah.
Like you got
So-
the XP drops and the health drops. So I mean,
So
yeah,
what-
I just think the whole hold on.
Or do you
okay.
think that's outdated?
Yep.
No, I don't think that's outdated. I think that's fine. I think the whole like regenerating health over time thing, it just makes it so that there's gonna be those players that just don't engage with the combat until they're comfortable, like that their health.
But it's
is...
going to be at such a slow rate. Like, would someone actually do that, even if it's at like a painfully slow rate?
Would you want
So-
someone to have the possibility of doing that, or do you want someone to be more engaged, or to be
I don't
forced
think
to be
I don't think that
engaged
would be
with the
fun
combat
though.
system? I think it would be fun.
So
I think
to
the
wait
more...
it out, I think the enemy
Oh no,
types.
I don't think. Oh no,
Oh,
I
okay,
don't think
okay,
it would
gotcha.
be
I was
fun
like
to
that.
do...
That
No,
that'd
I
be
don't...
brain dead.
Yeah,
But I
no,
think
no,
the
I
enemy
don't...
types would be so active. Like the AI would be so aggressive. Some of them, not all of them, but there'd be certain AI that'd be so aggressive that it wouldn't allow you to do that. You wouldn't be able to catch a break.
Okay, so like, I mean, you could have a mechanic in the game where like, you program it or whatever. Like, the longer you're not in combos, the more aggressive the enemies get.
I guess something to think about. So, in terms of when you actually increase your health, is it like an instant increase, or does it just speed up the regeneration rate?
What was that?
When you increase your health, does it just instantly bring you up, or does it increase the regeneration rate for a bit?
It was. I was thinking of instantly increasing. Instant increase.
I think it might be more interesting to just increase the regeneration rate for a period of time, and then bring it back to normal once you've healed enough at that point.
You could have it. I don't know if you already said this before, but like you could have it tied your health regeneration tied to your combo count. Like the higher your combo, the faster you regenerate health.
Well, that's what I was saying. But you felt that, which I agreed with, was that combos were tied to the hypersense bar.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that, but like I'm just saying like the whole system. That's why I was trying to get away from the regenerative thing because I think if it's tied more to the hypersense bar, that makes it like the core mechanic of the game. It's like what pretty much everything flows through.
Everything would flow through the hypersense bar.
Unless you just want to have the hypersense tied to combos and not related to health in any way, that would, or like not like the combo count, like I'm talking about like when I say combos, I'm talking about like the actual moves you can pull off and like the variety and creativity of the combat.
Okay. Trying to think. So we're not really sold on the slow regenerative health.
Not really.
Okay.
I think there's
because he has a healing factor. It's not a crazy Wolverine healing factor, but there is a healing factor.
I mean, yeah, he can also dodge
like I think as a general way of like healing him, I think that's fine. I just think it's just more interesting if the rate at which you regenerate, it's based on rewards. You know, you manage to increase your combos, then that heightens your regeneration rate. I think if something like that is worked in, it kind of balances out the slower regeneration.
Okay, so upon you beating enemies, instead of it instantly regenerating your health, it increases the rate in which you regenerate health.
Yeah.
But couldn't that just be tied to like, I don't know, an upgrade? And it just being a passive upgrade?
That's true. It could be both, right? It could be both a product of you upgrade your character or avatar, whatever it is. But also, if you increase your combos, then you could also increase already based on your upgrades. So,
if you increase your combos, you can already increase base. One more time? I don't think I got that.
So like let's say you increase your health regeneration by like 0.5 or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even with that, you could still build up combos that still increases your regeneration rate, but only temporary. If you go back to 0, you're back at like the 0.5 times 0.5 regeneration.
Okay. So it would be an added buff that you can upgrade, but in addition to that, you would be rewarded upon maintaining a certain combo level.
Yeah.
And your health would regenerate faster.
Yeah. So
I hear you. That's what I was originally thinking of, but I liked what Colin was talking about, how the combo was tied to the hypersense bar instead of the health bar. Because does that make sense as far as you doing combos would help your health?
I think it makes sense. Just one mechanic has to go. It's either it's tied to the hypersense bar.
I guess it's best to just consider you have this option. So I guess it's a way of like narrowing down. It's a matter of narrowing down your options here.
So is it better, would you consider it better that health regeneration are increasing the rate of your regeneration, or are we just dropping regeneration altogether?
I think the dropping regeneration would be better. Because I think I think the other, like the having the combo having the combo be more tied to the hypersense thing as well as the health incentivizes you to engage more with the enemies.
I agree. Would you tie it to combos or tie it to how many enemies you take down? Say you take down 2 enemies or whatnot, that gives you a health drop for every 2 enemies or something, wherever 3 enemies or whatever it is.
I mean, are you gonna have? I think. So I'm assuming the hypersense thing is gonna be kind of like a style meter.
Yes.
Yeah. So depending on, I think you could have the enemies. It's just like I feel like if we continue to add more and more and more stuff to like how the hypersense bar is gonna be getting increased, it's just gonna always be full, and then it's gonna come to a point where like you're either gonna have a lot of downtime because if it's tied to the combo system, right? Then you're gonna be losing out on moves, and you're gonna be having downtime to like and missing out on the variety in the combat. So if it's going up too fast, then you're just always gonna be able to heal up, and it's gonna
I hear
make it
you,
less.
but I thought I would think that the dodge would take care of it going up too fast, right? Because for every attack, you're gonna have to dodge. Upon you
Yes.
dodging, that takes some of your hypersense bar down.
Okay. So if you don't perfect dodge, it takes the hypersense. Okay,
Yeah.
That works. That works.
Yeah.
So which one was it? The enemies drop health, or you get health via combo, a high combo, and maintain it.
It could be enemies drop health. I think that's more.
Enemies drop health.
I think because if you have the regenerative thing, it kind of just negates or takes away from the hypersense bar.
So no regeneration. No regeneration. We're not doing finishers. We're doing enemies drop health. Well, okay. The thing is now, what is the incentive to do finishers?
Oh, there's gonna be finishers in the game?
Yeah, I want it to be like I don't. Once again, I don't know if you played Path of Neo, but
I haven't played that game.
you got to play it. It's awesome. Not all of it, but they're I wouldn't say finishers because it doesn't actually finish the enemy. But you can link like two people, three people together in like a cool little freaking attack and attack all three of them at a given time.
I don't necessarily think the game needs finishers. I think if it was more like you said, you're gonna be taking like more inspiration from like Bayonetta, DMC, shit like that. So like if it's like that, then like those games don't really have finishers. It's just like it's tied to all the moves you can do. I think that's like finishers aren't a necessity. I think if you want, you can still have
finishers because I want environmental takedowns. I want weapon takedowns. Say that manhole cover. I want to take down with that manhole cover, and then I want an environmental takedown with that manhole cover. Say you're against the wall. Now he slams your head with the manhole cover. Against the wall and stuff.
So
like
is it just like an? So is it? It's just the instant enemy takedown, just a way to instantly take down an enemy.
Yeah,
is that the finisher? Okay, then I don't think it would take much away from anything if you just have it tied to how high your combo is, like the Arkham games.
Tied to how? Okay.
Like I don't necessarily think the finisher needs to.
Could it be tied to just the hypersense bar?
Like you do a finisher and it adds to your hypersense bar.
It takes away from it.
Oh, it takes away from it. Okay. That would kind of decentivize people to do finishers, though.
Because all you're getting right now to increase your hypersense is the perfect dodge. If you don't perfect dodge, then
I thought the combo count was gonna make the rate of which your hypersense bar go up faster.
No, because the combo was that's right, we switched it because the enemies drop health.
Yeah.
So the combos increase the hypersense bar. Hypersense bar. Okay, combos increase hypersense bar. Then dodging decreases it. Perfect dodge doesn't have any effect on it. I just feel like the takedowns have to be tied to something.
I mean, they could just be. I don't really like. They could be.
Wouldn't you want a reward for doing a takedown? Or is the takedown itself?
I think the takedown itself is the reward.
Gotcha.
Like if you get a high enough combo.
Because I don't want it to be on combos in that regard. Because I don't mind as far as the Arkham and how they have it. I want it to be on stun. Because stun is how you're going to be able to take down enemies or link up enemies and stuff like that. How susceptible they are to your attacks.
Okay. I mean, so yeah, you could have like I know Sifu has like the I don't know what the bar is called. It's got like this little white bar, and once it goes red, that's when you can do a finisher.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's something like that, yeah, I think it could work. Like maybe the crooks have stamina bars or some shit.
Yeah, I want the enemies to have stun bars.
Yeah. Yeah, that works.
Yes. Okay, so upon them being, stunned enough, then that allows you to take them down. Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Once it increases, because there's also an enrage bar.
A rage mode?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
okay.
Well, not for you, for the enemies. Because remember when I was talking about if you taunt them long enough, they get enraged. I want
like,
the player
basically like an escalation in force.
Yeah. So I want the player to be able to tell, okay, if I taunt him one more time, he's going to be enraged, and this is going to make this fight harder.
Okay.
Okay.
But I feel like there's going to be too many bars on, there's just too much on, the interface for the enemy.
Yeah.
Because you have a stun bar you're going to have. You're going to have a health bar to show, or maybe you don't need a health bar.
I mean, you don't need it to be, it doesn't need to be that big necessarily. You could just have like a...
Wouldn't it just be clutter?
Nah, I mean, the Sifu, so like what's on the UI?
So what I want, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bar, I guess, per se. But what I want to relate to the player is the health of the enemy, the stun of the enemy, and the enrage of the enemy, how close they are to being enraged.
What's the enrage, what activates the enrage mode? Like the
the
more
taunting
taunts you do?
Yes. The more taunts you do, the more enraged they get. Now, upon them being enraged, obviously, once again, they can mutate via Goblin Serum. They get a damage buff or some type of buff. Maybe it's not a damage buff. Maybe now they can dodge your attacks or something like that. Every 2 attacks they dodge or something like that.
Yeah, when you say like their enrage bar, I'm thinking again of Sifu, like that mechanic that they have where they like the enemies have like a fire around them.
Yeah, I never understood that. I don't think the game really explains it to me.
It's so yeah, the game doesn't explain it. It's very poorly explained in that game. But I mean, it doesn't need to be exactly how that game is. I think the more perfect dodges you do, that's when I feel like that. I don't think you need to show the player an enraged bar. I think that you can just have that. You can explain to the player.
Okay, so it's kind of like Russian roulette.
Yeah, you can just explain to the player the more dodges you do, the more or perfect dodges you do, the more taunts you do, the harder the enemies will get.
Gotcha.
But like to, levity that or mitigate the the reward, it's just like the higher you are getting with your combo and the more perfect dodges you're doing, your hypersense bar is getting full. So you're also getting more stuff to pull off as the enemies increase and, how strong they are with their enraged thing.
I think what you might be able to do to indicate to the player how enraged they are is maybe have a variety between, like those cartoons that have like smoke above their heads to indicate that they're like mad or whatever, shit like that. So maybe you could have it at like a very moderate level when they first get angry, but as the level of enragement goes up, you can like exaggerate or increase the animation for that, if that makes sense. Kind of let the visuals speak for themselves.
So
yeah, I think you could have. I don't think the UI needs to be too complicated. Like, I don't think you need a health bar for the enemies. Like, unless that's a necessity for the player to see, I don't think it's a necessity. Yeah, so I don't think a health bar is necessary. I think the stun bar...
But doesn't that get tiring, though? Because I've had certain times where I'm trying to defeat an enemy. I'm like, okay, I need to know how many more punches is it going to take?
Oh, so like you don't want your combo, like you don't want, to try and pull off some crazy shit and the enemy just dies mid combo. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I would no, I hate that. So I would have it so after they're dead, you would still be able to attack them, right? If because I would.
Oh
One
yeah,
thing
I
I
mean,
don't like that the Spider-Man does is I think 2 does it as well. Is that you can be in the air and punching this guy, and then once they're dead, you can't you can't punch him anymore.
yeah, I would agree. I think yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have that, you know, in the player just, you know, it's just they're
But
just
some
punching
type
just a
of
punch at
visual
that
to
point.
let the player know that they're enraged.
Oh wait, what? I thought we were talking about the health.
Oh, what? No, what about the health?
We're talking about the
Uh,
enragement bar.
oh,
Yeah.
we're talking about. I was talking about the health bar that whole time.
No, I got that. Where you necessarily don't have to have a health bar. That's fine. I
Yeah,
can remove the health
Yeah.
bar. I was just thinking. I just
I
don't
think
want
yeah.
people to feel like the person's like a damage sponge, where it's like, okay, I'm punching
Well,
this guy.
I think if you have enough variety in the combat, because I think that's a problem a lot of games run into is they don't know the depth of their combat, so they'll either they'll either have the enemies take too long to kill or they die too quickly and you can't do crazy shit. So
So
I
an enemy
think
taking
that
too long to kill, you think that's a representation of just a lack of depth in the combat,
I think no, not necessarily. I think
or
if
if it
it
feels like
feels
that?
Yeah, it feels
Okay,
like a drag. I think that's going to come through playtesting. Like, that's not something you can predict, I don't think.
gotcha.
I think
Okay.
another thing you could play around with is maybe playing around with the idle animations or the running animations to indicate to the player they're clearly more angry, they're clearly more fumed.
You could even, yeah, you could
Like,
have, like, a visual and
So
audio
I was gonna
cue.
have them like bend over trying to catch their breath upon not being able to hit them and stuff like that.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. I think something subtle like that in the animations just to shift it up.
But I
From
still
like
have to
regular
focus on.
animations.
I still need something for enrage though.
Like,
Right.
I mean, yeah, you can either have a visual cue for them
Is there
or an
something?
audio
So like
cue,
So
or
here's a
both.
question about is it better to have like what SK was talking about with like a smoke over the head? Because I feel like that's very gamey. Or
You don't
is it
want it, like, do
better?
not want it to be gamey. You
Here's
don't
the
think it'll
thing: is
fit with the
that
art style.
is that because once you go that route, then it's might as well okay. You might as well have like a whole gradient, red on the enemy, letting you know that they're ready to die or something
So
like
I
that.
mean, if it's a stylistic, I think you're just gonna have to make it work with whatever the art style is, like, and just trust,
yeah.
like, you can ask the artists, like whoever you have working on the art direction, ask them what they want to do, or like tell them that's something you want to do,
Got you. I just
and
want
they
something
can
a little
fit it in.
more rooted.
Gotcha.
I don't think it necessarily,
That's good.
knowing it's a video game
Uh
is a
huh.
bad thing if it fits with the art style. Because like Sifu,
Gotcha.
for example, I don't mind when the bars above their heads pop up. It's not like it's not, or like when they I think they also have like shit on their face that like will happen because it is like a kind of a cartoony style.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so there's like shit on their face that will, like, emotions and stuff that will pop up. I don't think it's necessarily too gamey.
I think
Okay,
something
so
you could
like an
play around with in
exclamation
the
bar over their head.
Yeah, it's just
may-
like whatever fits with the art style.
what what you could also try is that in the combat animations, because let's say they're really pissed off and shit. If you're really pissed off at someone in a fight, you might end up like not being as precise, not being as smart. So maybe you can play around with that. Maybe make their punches like look less precise than they were if they were actually fighting. Make it look a little bit sloppier, but still like effective, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but they do more damage and they take more damage.
Yeah. I
Okay.
guess a good way to compare it, you know the lunatics in Arkham Asylum?
I know that I know what they exist. I no, I don't. I don't recall
Yeah,
them.
so basically, and Colin, you can show it on a stream if you like.
Okay.
But basically, you already know as a player that they're clearly much more unhinged, that they're crazier. They run in a way that's like very, like they have their hands out, they're screaming all the time, they
Yeah,
jump
they're
on
like
you, as opposed to what regular enemies do, where they just try to punch you and shit. They start like crawling on your face, they try to scratch your face and shit like that. So I don't know, it's something not to that extent, but something similar to that in concept where you can clearly tell these are different enemies just by how they're acting or
Okay,
how
I
they
see.
sound.
I see. So I hear you. I hear you. Gotcha. Because I definitely want their enemies to be able to if I have like a lunatic or that type of character in the enemy variety type, I do want regular enemies to be able to get to that point.
Yeah, you can still have them like make a visual change. You don't need to have them like strict. Like I'm assuming it's possible.
Yeah, they
For
would
you
just
to be
probably
able to,
change
like,
animations.
yeah, change animation, change their visual look as well.
Now, what do y'all think about say during this change, right? It gives a player an opportunity. Because I know there's some games, I can't remember which games, but actually, what was it? Spider-Man Ultimate Spider-Man, I believe. If you don't web down the enemies, they'll get up. So what happened if you have a moment, an opportunity to take them out as they're changing?
Yeah, that would be fine. I don't see the issue with that.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
I think like I'm assuming you said there's going to be like people who like inject themselves with like Green Goblin serum, right?
Yeah. So upon
so, like,
that's going to be upon you, right? Then range bar, they get gets high enough that they just inject and they become this
so
much
that's
faster.
what the so that's
Yeah, that's what the
okay.
enrage meter's for. So it's
So you could just have the character like they have an animation where they pull out like a needle or like some kind of breather, like I don't you remember the Tombstone side mission in Spider-Man PS4 where they like pull out the little breather and they turn into little Tombstone goons?
No, I don't. Hold on. Let me look
Here,
that
I can
up.
show you.
Okay.
Do you want me to? Are you gonna look it up, or do you want me to stream it?
Well, let me look it
In
up.
the
I'll look it
Discord?
up.
Okay.
Tombstone. I don't remember that. They sniff something and they become enemies?
Yeah, and they require and you can't take them out with punches. You have to use a finisher on them.
So you just have to evade.
I mean, not necessarily, but like it just depends on where your focus bar is at the time.
I think they're more difficult to take out as well, and it's much more risky to engage in combat with them.
It's basically the Professor Pig people from Arkham Knight. Like you need to do a finisher to take them out.
Got you. Okay. Damn, I don't recall that. Okay, yeah, I would definitely want something like that. And there's there's stages to the strength that that they become. However,
yeah, and you could just have them. Well, you could just have them like visually. You could have them get bigger within those stages, like their visual design.
Now, I also want it to be more rewarding as well to taunt like a more stronger player. So I think there's a reward in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that works.
But there's also the risk of you getting freaking destroyed. Okay. All right. Okay, got that. Environmental. I want environmental takedowns. Are there any concepts as far as environmental takedowns you're thinking of? Because I was what I had because I need objects and certain things that can be used in a variety of levels. If you get what I'm saying, because I can't have just special items for one level and then have special items for another level. It's just that's not in the budget.
Oh, that's not in the budget. Okay.
I don't think that's gonna be it. So like a trash can, I can have that in a bar. I can have that in the Daily Bugle. I can have that in the street. That's something that can be utilized in a variety of missions. Now,
yeah, that's what I actually think that's a good thing to do. Like, so it depends how many what are the environmental objects you want Spider-Man to be able to pick up?
So I'm thinking a car. Because I want there to be there's a level of environmental objects, right? I want it to be light, moderate, and then heavy environmental objects. Now, of course, the bigger brutes will be able to engage in the heavier objects. Everyone else will be engaged in the medium, the light. So, your common, there's weapons and then there's environmental objects. So the environment, trash cans, what are they called? Generators that they have on the side. I forgot what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
trying to think. I was thinking of like old cars, right? Just broken down cars in some cases. The manhole, that was a good idea. I didn't think of that. The manhole covers. That's what I'm talking about. Things in the environment that can be used as weapons for you or the enemy. But that's
So I
the
mean,
only thing I could think of at the moment. I was thinking of chairs.
yeah.
Uh,
I think well, when you were talking about environmental weapons, I was thinking of stuff like like
pipes.
fucking holes, pipes, yeah, like manhole covers, shit like that.
Well,
Even
I want
cardboard.
pipes as well.
Yeah, you can have pipes and stuff. I think it's gonna be dependent on, yeah, like it's like you said, it's gonna be the variety of the levels and the environment that you're placed in, because that is something like I think it's good to have certain levels where you only have access to this specific thing in combat.
Yeah.
That just makes
But
it unique.
would it be upsetting if only certain environmental objects had takedowns or finishers?
Not necessarily. I mean, like Arkham Knight, for example, like they have the electric generators, like lamps that you can drop on people's heads, and like fucking what's another thing in Arkham Knight? I forget, like the other environmental stuff. But like they have it to where like you get a certain animation when you get them close to an enemy. I think if you had like, let's say you had a car on the street, you could like open a car door and then like pull someone's, or like let's say someone's in front of you, you get an animation where you like put them in front of the car door and then you open the car door really fast and it like slams, or like their head gets pushed through a window, or like it just slams in the
That's
car
exactly.
door.
So what I want is to be able to grab someone and then to throw them into a car, right? They go through the car window. So now, but at the same time, now that limits you because now you can't use the car door or you can't use the tires.
Oh, so I guess I'm just like I just have to visually see more the thing, because you said the tires. So like, is
So
it going to
say
be
there's
like
like a broken down car, but there's like a
yeah?
tire that's loose on the, like there's one tire that you can use as a weapon. And you use it
Okay.
as, kind of like a, not a shuriken, but a weapon to crowd control. It's a crowd control weapon. The car door could be used as a shield to block, certain objects or whatever. If you don't feel like dodging it, now you have the option to use it as a block. But upon you using it as a contextual takedown, that eliminates you using those items.
I would say so. I would say if you're gonna have something, so there's gonna be a block. You would need a block mechanic if you're gonna have that. Because the idea I'm thinking is it would just be along the lines of what you were thinking. It was like, let's say you have a tire and it can like ricochet among enemies. You throw it at someone, and it like it bounces between multiple enemies.
Yeah.
Whereas the car door is more used as a shield. Whereas the manhole cover would be used as like a mix of both.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's good variety.
Let me see. Fire. People. Got the manhole, and then the only thing is with the car door. I just I guess I can just instruct the player that, hey, when you have the car door, when you have it, now your dodge works as a block.
Yeah. I mean, it could work as a parry, like you have the.
I was thinking about
perfect...
that too, but I was like, I think maybe a block is easier to program. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume the parry would take more.
Because you have to get that timing right. Car door versus block.
Someone in my chat said, what about some kind of ceiling takedown, not like the ones you can do in stealth, but something where you could throw an enemy up and kick them up against the ceiling?
That's how I was assuming, like
throw an enemy up and wait, what? Throw an enemy up and kick them against the ceiling?
Yeah, it's like they said it was a ceiling takedown, not the ones you can do in stealth, but like something where you can throw an enemy up and kick them against the ceiling.
Okay, throw an
so I
enemy
guess
up.
using the ceiling as, as a way to take them out.
Well, see, the thing I'm thinking with like the web link, it could work similarly to like the grapple hook in Just Cause.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. But the only issue I have with that is I feel that opens up the door to like just problems. I feel in coding, because like web linking someone's face to the ceiling or their leg to the ceiling, or their leg. I mean, it would be cool. I guess I would have to see how it just works, how it works like an engine.
Yeah, I think you would just need to make it, like, for budget reasons, you would just need to make it less dynamic to that extent.
Well, then doesn't it come off as janky? That's what I was thinking as far as
I
limiting
don't think
it to face, chest, and feet. It plays into...
I think people are gonna, like, it just depends how the animation plays out. Like, you could have, like, just the I don't think the animation necessarily needs to be janky. And even if it is, like, not dynamic, because there's, like, things in numerous games with great combat systems that you could say, like, you know, there'll be an animation that'll glitch out for a second. It's like slightly immersion breaking, I guess, but like no one really cares. Like, I don't know if you've seen like any of the crazy like combo videos on like Spider-Man PS4 or God of War, but they're like pretty much breaking the game's physics and engine to like pull off certain things, and like people enjoy doing that. So like I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing if the animation looks fine and it's not dynamic.
Okay. Because then here's the thing. I'm thinking by allowing it to go the Just Cause route, that eliminates the options, or that eliminates the incentive for having the structure of the head, the chest, and the feet. Because then you'll just, click any point on the body and then just attach it to anything. So there's no strategy behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I have no idea how much that's going to take out of the budget. I think the dynamic thing is better, right? Like I still think you can have the Just Cause system and have it work dynamically with the webbing. It's just I have no clue how much money that will take out of your budget or whatever.
So so if it doesn't take a lot to include that and just forget the whole options of only allowing the player to do the head, the chest, and the feet. Just give them free reign.
Yeah. I mean, if the budget allows for it, the dynamic option would be better.
Interesting.
And
you
could
don't think
have
that
it
would
like
just cause freaking madness, or I guess is madness good? Because I feel like that would cause
probably
chaos.
good.
Okay.
Like chaos in what context?
Like I don't know, someone webbing their face to someone else's crotch, or something like that.
I think if you look at a lot of games that have come out recently, like tiers or like even things, I think people enjoy that kind of wacky
that's
shit.
the fun part. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think they kind of laugh at that shit. It's funny.
Okay. So there would be, you can do that, but there's also like hidden things, hidden options that if you were to link it to, I don't know, the lamppost, you would see a special animation.
Wait, what?
Where like you could link it, say you can link them to the crotch, you can link them wherever, but if you were to link it to certain points in the environment, they would have tailored animations for that.
Does the webline have physics? So you know what I'm kind of thinking of. In Spider-Man 2, the movie game, how you can like grab people with your webline and like kind of swing them around, or like you can pick them up. I think if you had like let's say you have one link to your web shooter and the other's just attached to an enemy. If the web lines have physics, you could kind of wrap them around a pole. And like you could have like momentum coding where like the certain however much momentum the person has hitting an object, or like whether it's the street, a car or a wall, that's how much damage that will be done to them.
So how much momentum the person has, that's how much
Like
damage.
let me show you this thing that I'm thinking of. Like so like just imagine something like this. YouTube. Spider-Man PS4 movie. So the scene when he's at the Fisk construction site. I will stream it in the Discord.
Is there a reason why it's not showing up on my end?
All right. Can you see it?
Cancel.
Lucas?
I can't. I can't. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on. For some reason,
I will.
it's just showing that it's loading.
It says loading.
Well,
Here, let me
you know the two
SK,
squares.
can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
You know the two squares that pop up when something is like loading. I see 720, 30 frames live. It's just two squares.
Let me change the window. I guess I don't. Can you see it now?
No, I don't know. Maybe it's my computer or something. Here, let me show you what.
Here, I can send you a link.
That's what I see.
You might want to leave
Okay.
and rejoin. If you do that, usually it helps.
Okay. Give me a second. Stop watching. Disconnect. Go in the call. All right, I'm back. Nah, still having that for some reason.
Here, I can send you a link, and I will. The timestamp will be in the link. It's gonna be in this chat. So like that move where he like grabs the guy and then like the web kind of wraps around the pole and then he goes into a swing kick.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm imagining with like how a web link thing could work.
Okay. Okay. I get that. I feel like that would be extremely hard to do.
That would.
So is that the reward in it?
No, it's just something you could do to play around with the physics. It doesn't necessarily need to, go into a swing kick, but it's just the act of like, you do the web link thing, and you can like, wrap them around a pole or something, and then they can go flying off of that.
Got you. Okay. So let's web kick, hypersensor slow down, web link them to a pole, and then upon the momentum they have upon them being kicked, they would wrap around the pole.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's gonna be interesting. That would be very cool. Very cool if we can make that happen.
Yeah. So I think I saw one animation. I don't know if it was on Twitter or something. Twitter. So when you're doing that like multi-person, multi-attack dodge thing, how does that functionally work?
Well, that's what I was thinking about. That's where I was thinking as far as the stun. I'm thinking you web one person because how it works in Path of Neo. Because I want to talk to like a combat designer, someone to evolve that mechanic. But how it works in Path of Neo is that you can stun someone, and it's just a button you press. Excuse me, and it stuns them. And then upon stunning them, you can now hold the analog stick to another enemy, grab them into the attack, and then do a combo with that, a finisher with that. It allows up to 3 people to grab.
Okay. Well, because when I was thinking of like the seafood thing, and I saw like the dodging multiple mechanics, it looked more Arkham automated-y, where it does it for you. So I'm just thinking like practically, I don't know how that animation that I saw works manually. But I guess I'll have to see it in practice.
Well, you stun someone. There's a certain level of because if you don't hit the button at the right time, the whole animation breaks apart. It falls apart. But as long as you hit the button sequence, it plays out the animation.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So it's kind of like a version of an in-game, not cutscene. What am I thinking of? QTE.
Yeah, that works. I think depending on how much how it looks again, it would either be better to make it more like it just depends how smooth it flows with the combat. Because if it's like like if it breaks up the combat, the QTE thing.
No, I would want it to flow smoothly. I absolutely 100%. Because once again, most of the money is going to be on programming and animation.
Yeah,
that's where most of the budget is going to be going on in this. Because That's what's really gonna sell it. So a lot of the dodges or jumping over and things like that, they're gonna be stylistic, heavily stylistic.
Okay.
But once again, style without substance is dead. So that's what I'm trying to flesh out the mechanics of it. Okay, the web linking, I like that. Manholes, Are there any other things that you think of as far as tires? Now you said you wouldn't have an issue with if not every, because what I want, I mean, it wouldn't be possible, but it would be nice, if every actually, maybe we just limit it to not only environmental items, but certain environmental items when it comes to takedowns.
Yeah, I mean, again, like if it makes the level unique, because I think that's a big part of level design is having a new experience to get. Like I don't know if you've played Hi-Fi Rush.
Yes, I love that game. It's pretty solid.
Yeah. So like every single level in that game, it's a new environment. It's a new the topology of the environments has changed. There's multiple enemy types that you get introduced to in every level, and it just feels constantly fresh. Like it feels like you're constantly getting a new experience as the more the game plays out. So it never feels like it gets repetitive. So I think if you have uniqueness to the levels, it's only certain certain environmental objects are relegated to certain levels and certain environmental designs. I think Sifu also has a similar thing. Like you don't get knives or staffs or pipes in certain levels, and it like changes how you it changes a bit of how you go about the combat encounter depending on the environment.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because what I want is well, obviously I want replayability. So how I was thinking about creating that is that as you progress, right? That car that you had in level 1 you weren't able to use, but as you got to level 6 or level 7, you now can use the tire, you now can use the shield, which
and then
opens
you could have you could have like a final level where all those mechanics kind of culminate, and you can use all of them. Like I feel like it would just be like a build up to it.
And then it also allows you to go back to level 1 and be like, okay, now I can use all of these things in the environment, which I didn't know I was, capable of using. Okay.
I think that not only would add to, the uniqueness and like the freshness of going into a new level. Like you feel like you're getting a new experience every level, but it also adds to like player progression and skill progression.
Okay. Just a few other things. The taunt mechanic I wanted to flesh out a little bit, and then the enemy types that I have so far. So obviously we have shield, armored, regular individual, regular thugs and stuff like that. There are those who you have the brutes, which can use heavy environmental objects. You have long distance individuals that can throw bombs at you that disable your spider sense. Well, not your spider sense, your web sense, whatever. There's also individuals that can set up, I'm thinking of set up little gadgets or beacons that disable your spider sense or disorient you.
Like grenades?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like concussion blast or something like that. That's what I have thus far. Now, of course, certain enemy types can dodge your attacks. Not all of them, but they can dodge certain attacks. I'm just thinking of a way in which it teaches the player some type of skill. Like we've given them the dodge, we've given them.
Do you know the martial artists? Do you know the martial artist enemies from Arkham Origins?
Yeah.
Have you played Arkham Origins? So like you have enemies like that can counter your attacks on top of dodging.
Okay.
And then for like shield enemies, I'm assuming you'll use like the sweep move or the web link move to either pull it out of their hands or you sweep them and they just kind of
I just think I think that's too easy. That's the only
You think
that's
it'd
the
be
issue I
easier?
have. Like if you can just get an enemy shield out of their hands that fast, then it kind of makes the shield enemy kind of redundant.
Well, you could have a limit to how much you can use the web link.
Mm. Okay.
You could have the combo system not just tied to the hyper sense bar. You could have it also tied to like how much web fluid you have. You could even have a mechanic where you have to you have to like how in Elden Ring or something you have to like stop for a second and heal up with like the flask.
Mm-hmm.
You could have it like a mechanic where like
Well, that was the web cocoon.
Wait, what?
That was the web cocoon, right? You use all of the hypersense to fully restore your health.
Well, yeah, that would be for health, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking more like the web cartridges. Like you have to refill them, and like there can be depending on what the meter is. Like there could be points where you can't refill your web.
So I thought
Like
we
your
were
web stuff.
so I thought we're getting rid of the web cartridges. Because
I mean, you don't need to.
Because I was thinking there's nothing really to use them with though. Because if I'm not having a dedicated like web button, well, I guess we could have as far as web cartridges tied to the web link.
Well, I thought the web link
Okay.
would have to be a
Yeah.
new like that would be a separate mechanic. I don't think you can
Yeah.
really. I
Tie
think
that
that's
to the
more
hypersense
something you
thing.
can use for setup and stuff. Like this hypersense would be tied to your combos, whereas the web linking stuff would be more towards focused on setup.
Okay. So the web cartridges would solely be used for web linking?
Yeah, I mean, you could have like a little wheel that you have to pull up, like where it doesn't have to just be web linking. It can be like the ricochet web, or like maybe something similar to the impact web. You could have like multiple different things you can use the web cartridges with.
Yeah, I can't stand a wheel or something like that. Maybe.
I mean, you could do it. You could always be quick fire.
Well, yeah, I would definitely want some quick fire, but I'm thinking because it would have to complement everything else.
Well, I'm saying like so with like Spider-Man 2, for example, when you have the little quick fire gadget thing, but you can still like aim the stuff, like and then just press R1 and then press circle, triangle, square, X, whatever you want to use. You
So-
can have like those button combos and it can still be its own dedicated mechanic.
Okay. Web cartridges. Yeah, because that was originally what I wanted to think of. Okay. Web cartridges used for web linking but then we get into like I don't know. Cuz what I'm blanking. What else was there for the web cartridges besides web linking? You were saying like web balls and stuff like that?
I mean, you could have web balls. What would be the purpose of the web ball? I was thinking more like ricochet
impact
webs
webbing.
or yeah, like ricochet webs or impact webbing. Yeah. Also, is there like I'm assuming there's gonna be like a hardware limitation as well. Like, what's the hardware? Is it gonna be on consoles or just PC?
It's gonna be on PC.
Okay, so like, what's the hardware? Do you know what the hardware requirements
That's a great
are probably
question.
gonna be?
I want it to be accessible to people who have like potatoes. But I mean that depends.
I think that might bog down your game a bit because like I think a big thing with balancing, like so that you're not too OP and you're not just spamming like your ricochet webs or your impact webs and using that shit. Like to mitigate that, you would have not only enemies that those gadgets don't work on, but you would have just a plethora of enemies to fight. So if you have like potato PCs running it would limit how many enemies you can have on screen at a time.
Gotcha.
I mean, at the minimum, I'd probably say like 1080 requires SSD. Like a 1080 graphics card and requires an SSD and maybe like an i5. 9600K type processor build.
Okay.
Because at this point, if you don't have like, a certain PC requirements, it's like still having a PS4. It's like it's kind of on you at that point.
Gotcha. So here's the issue I have with the ricochet impact webbing or any type of webbing stuff like that. I feel like there has to be a reason to use them. There has to be enemy types that it was designed for in some way, or no.
So
I feel like it goes back into like Prototype 2, where it's like you had all these weapons, but there was no enemy type that specifically used those weapons.
I don't necessarily think for a combat system you need to have dedicated mechanics for dedicated enemy types.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that spices up the combat, but I think the more variety, like it's like DMC, for example, like you have all these combos, but you don't need to use a specific combo on enemies, right? It's like it's just a matter of creativity, expression, and variety in the combat.
Okay. But the way to limit that would be
it
works on all enemies, but however it doesn't work on all enemies.
It doesn't work on all enemies. It works on like there would be some enemies that can mitigate it. Like again, like Spider-Man PS4, for example, they have the Sable guys with like body armor. You can't use web gadgets on those guys.
Gotcha.
You have to break their armor before you can use their gadgets. You also have like brutes who you can't manipulate the physics as much with. So that they can't like, you can't really do a lot of air combos on brutes in the same way that you can with like, just the skinny guys that will run around.
Gotcha. So it doesn't work on all enemies. However, it doesn't give like bonuses, or there's not certain enemy types that you have to use it on.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Are there any enemy types you can think of that would be interesting that haven't been done before, or a new twist on them? Because I was thinking of having certain enemies that protect other enemies, where they like work in a team. So once you get to like elite soldiers, well, kind of like that to some extent. But when you like get like elite soldiers, when you fight them or something, they all work as a team. Like one is flanking you while the other one has a shield protecting the other guy. Stuff like that. So there's like a hierarchy where you have to break down this team.
I don't know how expansive your world is that you're going for. But what might be interesting is, you know how Doc Ock in the comics has like these Octobots?
Mm-hmm.
So what if we have something like that for him to go up against?
An Octo? You mean the little small bots?
Yeah.
I mean, you could. So, is every level gonna be a new boss fight at the end of it, like Sifu? Like,
that's the goal. That's why.
That's the goal. Okay, so what you could have
either it's gonna be a big, a big boss, or it's gonna be like a mini boss, something like that.
Yeah. So you could. So if let's say you go from level to level, you have like Doc Ock, Mysterio, Sandman,
Those
Electro.
are like big bosses.
Oh, those are okay. So
wouldn't you consider that a big boss? Like say you have a mini gunner. That would be kind of, like a boss or something. I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we don't need to get into specific terms of what you would call them. I'm more thinking of, like, the final boss that you'll reach at the end of the level. There could be, like, every new level, you're being introduced into a new enemy type, and that enemy type is designed around kind of what the boss is, and they bring something new to combat. So you could have, like, so let's say you had Doc Ock as the final boss of a level. You could have like Doc Ock enemy types, and they have their own, not as powerful 4 arms that they have, and then you could have like you have to press the dodge button 4 times, in like a button combo manner to actually dodge their attacks.
Gotcha.
And then you could even have like you have to use the web link to like tie their arms to something so that you open their that opens up the ability for them to get punched in the face or something like that. And then like you could have like electro enemies that are like, they're electric, so you can't like punch them. So you have to you have to web link them or something, or just use any gadget on them. Kind of like the Arkham Knight. When in Arkham Knight they have the electrified enemies that you can't punch and you have to use the bat claw on. You could have something similar to that.
The thing is, I like that, but I feel that's gonna be crazy costly. I feel.
Oh yeah, okay.
So that's why I was trying to maybe have. I was trying to have enemy types that felt varied, but not like crazy varied. To limit down on the animations and stuff like that. That makes sense.
I got you.
I like the Doc Ock enemy types, and you have electric enemy types and things like that. I'm just I don't know.
I think having that dodge mechanic, the manual dodge mechanic, I think having ranged enemies will also be a good thing to have with that, because how in like the Insomniac games they have like the white line you see like pointing at you, and then it turns red, and that's when they're about to shoot. That's like you can manually time that instead of just pressing circle. Like you have to manually dodge to the left or right or something. Like in Sifu as well, like you have enemies that can like throw pipes at you, and you have to you can either catch the pipe or you can dodge the pipe.
Gotcha. So, So with the grab, if somebody throws something at you, you can press it at the right time and you grab it.
I mean, you could even have if someone throws like a bottle at you, you could even have the bottle be dynamic to an extent where because if there is going to be a physics system in the game, you'd probably have to apply that to objects in the environment, depending on how interactable they are. Like if someone throws a bottle at you, you could have it to where you could shoot a ricochet web at that, or even just a regular web at it, and it would go back to the enemy, and the bottle would smash on their face, and then they'd also have a web on their face.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you
go for it.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say if you use the ricochet web in that thing that I just brought up, instead of a regular web that shoots at the enemy, let's say you have a ricochet web and you have a person behind you. If someone throws that bottle at you, the ricochet would not only send the bottle back at the person that threw it, but it would also go back towards you, so you have to dodge your own webbing, and it would bring the potential of that ricochet web hitting someone behind you. So that's just another thing that would be more skillful.
Got you. This just setups.
Yeah, but if you don't dodge your own ricochet web, then you get webbed up, then you get stun. Yeah, then you get stun locked for a second. So that's another risk reward-esque thing to do.
Okay. There was something else. Oh, so there's certain things I want where, right, you could obviously use the web to combat projectiles being thrown at you. I want it to be where you can use a perfect dodge, and if someone's throwing a chair or someone's throwing an object, you perfect dodge it, and you can grab it. Actually, no, that's a waste of a perfect dodge. I just want some reward. Maybe there is no perfect dodge for projectiles or something like that. Because I'm thinking if there's a grab, then you could just, web it and then swing it back at someone else. And if you already have a dodge, you can just dodge it. So I don't know if you need a perfect dodge for someone throwing projectiles at you.
Will there be the option to use your web link while you're in the middle of after you dodge something? Because I also could imagine let's say someone throws a bottle at you. Let's say you dodge it, and then you web link their face, and then you connect it to the bottle, and then the bottle comes back and smacks them in the face after you dodge it.
Yeah,
or something like that could be cool. Another thing I think could be interesting, would the web linking be able to create tripwires?
In what sense? Where you web one wall to another wall?
How they got the tether thing in Spider-Man 2, that you can walk on the line. What I'm imagining is you use that as a WWE rope, where you can push someone into that, and then they'll come back to you, and you can like clothesline them or drop kick them or some shit.
I don't know how. I just don't know how you would set that up.
You don't know how you'd set it up. I mean, I could show a visual thing, but I would have to stream it.
Like, what are you thinking? Like, you web 2 people? Because I was thinking of webbing 2 people and using that as a clothesline.
So, I mean, but you could set up the clothesline to work in multiple different ways. So there's just more depth to the move. You know what I mean? Like,
So would the clothesline be a move that you can do?
here, I mean, it could be. Like, how, can you see the stream this time? I don't, because I kind of need to show visually what I mean.
No, it's still giving me the freaking dots.
All right. I don't really
Maybe
know
try
how
to
to
describe it the best you can as it's.
Can you pull up SK? Can you pull it up on your end?
To be honest, it's probably gonna be worse for me.
Okay.
My shit always lags.
God dang it.
I mean, you could just take a screenshot, or I could take a screenshot of what's there.
Yeah. Do that.
All right, do the thing again.
I'm trying to set it up. Can you set it up, please? Okay.
All right. This right here. Basically.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, like, you push someone into that, and then they'll come back to you. Like, they'll bounce back to you. Kind of like how, like, I was expressing earlier with, like, the bounce mechanic that they have in this game. Instead of only bouncing off of floors, they can also be bounced off of, like, walls if you push them hard enough. But they could also, like, WWE rope off of that tightrope that you just set up, and you can, like, they would come back to you, and you can, like, do a combo on them or something. So again, it's just like how the web linking would be used for setup into combos.
The only issue I have with that is that how do you limit that, right? How do you control that? Because what happens if I do another line and another line and another line? I feel like that would just cause a bunch of.
Well, it would be the web cartridge thing. That would be what mitigated, right? Like I thought that's what we were talking about earlier.
So say I hear you, but say you have, I don't know, let's say the max is 3 web cartridges or something like that. Say you do three lines and create a box. Then the enemy's just gonna be bouncing off of everything. I feel like that would lead to like bugs, because I guarantee people are gonna freaking try and break it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of happens with every game though. Like no game's gonna be bug free or perfect. Like that's gonna happen. As far as the other thing, like it obviously wouldn't be unlimited. Like the thing would break after a while. The web line would break after a while. So that could be a balancing thing. You could also have like, let's say you have like a bar of 100, like your web line, your web cartridge bar has like 100 on it. The web lines would take off like, I don't know, fucking 20 from the bar. So you can only use the web linking thing like 5 times before you have to refill your cartridges. And with like the impact webs and the ricochet webs, that would only cost like I don't know, like 10 towards your cartridge.
Couldn't you use this line on anything then?
Oh, what do you mean?
Like say ceiling to the ground, or wall to wall.
Yeah.
When that,
it can be set up in any way.
Or what if there's a limit to how far it'll reach?
The
web line.
So like, yeah. So you're saying it can only
go so far?
Like
because I feel like if you do, say you're in a room, right, and you go from you have a web link and you shoot it from one end of the wall to the other end of the wall. Like when that just caused enemies not to be able to get to you.
Not necessarily, because they could like the way you could program it is like the web line would only be interactable with like the tether web, that specific thing that you set up for like the WWE rope. That would only affect the enemies if you specifically push them into the. In the same way that like the bounce mechanic in Spider-Man 2, enemies only bounce off the concrete if you like push them hard enough.
So would they just jump over it then?
I mean, they
or
could
go
walk
under
under
it
it.
or
They could,
something?
yeah, they could
What
walk
happens
under
if
it. They could jump
what
over
happens if you
it.
put up? Say you have three. Remember the three. Let's say you have three cartridges, and you just do three, three lines,
Yeah.
and create a wall.
I mean, you could still program it so that they can just get through it. Like, I don't think it needs to be that practical.
Okay. Because I'm just thinking, if I had that, how would I break it, or how would I, try and cheese my way?
I mean, you could have the enemies try and break it themselves, like try to rip it. That couldn't be another thing.
Okay. And then there's also a time limit.
Yeah, it would either
Before
be
it, disintegrates.
yeah, it can either be a
Yeah.
time limit or a durability factor to the web line.
Okay. One thing I couldn't think of was a way to take out. Actually, no, that's not true. Because long distance enemies who are shooting at you or something, you could just web them to you.
Yeah, you can pull them towards you. Yeah.
Okay. I want a different take on the web strike, and that's what I can't think of. As far as I like, because just like how we were talking about, as far as someone shooting at you can web them to you, well, I also want you to be able to web to them.
I don't think so. With the web strike, I think the problem that it has in like Web of Shadows, for example, is like it's way too broken. Like your enemies go down so quickly when you use that move, and it's just like there's little to no challenge with the combat, and it's just like a combo. It feels like a combo simulator. It doesn't feel like there's much engagement with the enemies. So I think instead of trying to be like innovative, I guess with the web strike, you could just fix that, because if you are styling your combat around like DMC-esque thing, it would, or even Web of Shadows, because Web of Shadows, kind of takes that similar combat approach. You could have that still, but like just make it more balanced.
Make it more balanced.
So that enemies just don't instantly die.
Okay.
And then you could have it to like where you try to web strike, and like, Web of Shadows, and also like Spider-Man 2 has this, like you try to web strike and you have the enemies that you have to perfect dodge, and then just enemies that not just the perfect dodge, like you just have the regular dodge. Just so that you're not like spamming it.
So would it be better to do more of a free flow to reach long distance enemies, or to do the web strike?
No, the web strike's definitely more engaging, because the thing about the free flow is it kind of just like it makes it more. I mean, the best way I can describe it just makes it less engaging.
Okay. Web strike to cover long distance.
You could even have because like one of the things that is really good about like the Insomniac's like combat system is they have like a really good movement in place, and like how you can, like the point launch, for example, like that lets you zip around and like bounce around the environment so quickly, and it makes you feel like Spider-Man.
Okay. All righty. As far as the taunt mechanic, there's that.
That's why I feel like there's gonna need to be some kind of air presence with the combat. Otherwise, it's just like you're just man. You just don't feel like Spider. I don't think I've ever seen a Spider-Man comic line where he's just throwing hands and he's not bouncing around the enemies. I just don't.
Yeah, he's bouncing around, but he's not in the air like that. That's the only
I
thing.
mean, it's not like, like he's not breaking physics to like, long combo air people in the comics, obviously, but like it is a video game, so it's, you can take those things. It doesn't need to be realistic. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Like it can be cartoonish and realistic at the same time. Like Arkham, for example. Like, do you think Batman is fucking pinballing across enemies, like
No.
going down blocks at city at like Mach 10 speeds. It's like, no, that's not.
I don't mind I just feel like if there's another way to get that sense of that breaking of realism besides air combo. That's the thing.
I mean, I think the air combos. I feel like it's a necessity. If you don't want it, it's in the game. That's fine. I just think again, it is something that adds a new dimension to what you do and how creative and
Is there
the
any other
freedom.
thing that you can do besides air combo? Like, is there
What do you
anything
mean?
else you can think of that could substitute it?
That can substitute it? I mean, like, what would it really be?
I don't know.
I can't really think. Like when you're in combat, like I don't. It's either you're on the ground or you're either in the air. I don't really know what the other thing would be.
Okay. Taunt mechanic. Do you have any ideas as far as what the taunt mechanic besides the ones given what I said? As far as I want like a active reload for the taunt mechanic.
An active reload for the taunt mechanic. So does the taunt mechanic have a cooldown?
No, you can do it anytime.
Okay, so then why would you need the active reload for it? I'm a bit confused.
So you can have like a perfect taunt or something like that.
Wouldn't that just come down to the perfect dodging?
Well, the taunt would be different from the dodging though.
Well, I thought you would perfect dodge out of the taunt. And the taunt would make it harder to accomplish the perfect dodge. Like you would have a smaller window to react.
Perfect dodge out of the taunt. Yeah.
Because I'm assuming you're gonna have like maybe something similar to what the Insomniac games have, where you have like a white symbol above your head and then it turns red when you need to perfect dodge or something.
Yeah, there's gonna be some type of spider sense or web sense that shows off. Okay, so perfect dodge out of the attack. I'm just trying to think of the button input for that because I don't want it to feel clunky, right? Attack, or attack, taunt, and then dodge. But I guess it's more of the feel. I'm trying to see the buttons that are available.
I mean, yeah, I think that's the ideas would come first, and then like figuring out how to put that on the buttons would have to come. Like you'd have to figure that out at a later time.
Okay.
Because I think you would have to design these moves around DMC-esque, God of War-esque, shit like that.
Going on. Any crazy enemy types? Anything crazy or anything wild or?
I mean,
something that'd be cool to see.
I thought the idea that I had earlier was cool. I can't really think of. So you said you had shield. You said like the enemies that are based around the bosses that you have at the end of the level.
Yes.
Yeah. So those you got those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but you said that would be too much, right?
Possible. I mean, it depends because it depends on how many levels, right?
Yeah.
And then it also depends on how long those levels are. That's the only thing. Because one thing I can't stand is when they have like electric enemies for Electro, pumpkin enemies for Goblin, but you notice them. So it's like it shows the limited variation.
What do you mean by you notice them?
Like you notice, hey, there's one green guy, there's one yellow guy, and there's one blue guy for Hydro Man or whatever.
Yeah. But like,
and usually the hierarchy in them are just the same thing, right? So if instead of a baseball bat, it's now an electric bat or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can like functionally make them like different. Like it doesn't need to be vastly different, but it can still be functionally like different. Like I was saying, like the electro enemies, you have to use a gadget on them before you have to use like one of the gadgets on them before you can hit them. Otherwise, you're gonna get hurt when you punch them. And then like with the Doc Ock guys, you have to restrain their arms before you can hit them. If you had like what were the other enemy bosses you said?
There's just your typical, brute, shield, armor.
No, I mean like what were the big guys that you would design these like different enemies around.
We haven't.
Like,
That hasn't been. The story is still in development, so I don't know as far
okay.
as the
All
exact
right. Well,
enemies.
let's say like let's say you had Mysterio. There would be
Mhm.
enemies that like you punch and they just kind of disappear. But like but like I'm trying to think of. I think how's the combo system gonna work? Is it gonna be like Arkham where like if you fuck up you lose your combo, or if you don't punch an enemy for a certain amount of time you lose your combo?
I don't like as far as if you don't punch an enemy for a certain amount of time, you lose a combo. I mean, maybe, but that's roughly what I was thinking about as far as how it's set up.
So the only thing I can think of,
Unless you can think of an improvement upon that.
what I was gonna say with the Mysterio guys is they would have like they disappear, and then that makes like your combo meter turn red, which means like you're about to lose your combo if you don't hurry up and punch the next enemy. So like you would have to I'm
So
trying
like
to
a
think,
fail safe, you think? Instead of you just completely losing your combo, it'd be like, hey, you gotta punch someone before it gets to 0 or whatever.
No, what I was gonna say is like, you have like it's a risk to try and go after the Mysterio guys always, but there's no real for sure way, so it would feel unfair if you lose your combo. It would feel like it wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
Because if you just like, you try to punch another Mysterio guy and that guy disappears, then you just lost your combo and you couldn't do anything about it really. I can't really think of what you would do for the Mysterio guys. At least not right now.
So obviously, the Emerald Titan, as we call it, right? So he's gonna be the main antagonist of the story. So when I think about the potential you can do for any kind of enemy types, or not even necessarily enemy types, but sort of obstacles that the player can deal with. For example, I assume you've seen Spectacular Spider-Man?
Yes.
Yeah, so in the finale, they have all these traps with, like, all these pumpkin bombs and shit. So I'm thinking maybe in the gameplay, like, in the environment, you could have, like, pumpkin bomb-related traps that you have to deal with as a player. So that could be an obstacle you might want to put in. Maybe have, like, I don't know how expensive...
You mean traps in the environment?
Yeah, yeah.
You could even have like the goblin goons, the emerald goons or whatever you would call them. They have pumpkin bombs that do a lot more, like let's say double the damage of the regular grenade another enemy would throw. So like you really have to watch out for those bombs, and they would have like different audio cues so that you know.
Okay. What would be like some environmental traps? I'm trying to like.
You could just have like, have you played Helldivers 2?
Helldivers, yes.
Just came out.
Yeah, I've been playing.
Yeah. So you know how like when you're walking through a planet, there's like these little plants that you can run into, or landmines or something that you can run into. You could have it like that, where like there's yeah, like if you get too close to them or you step on them, they explode. So you could have it like that, so that you have to really be careful with how you move through the environment. That could be something.
Okay. So there are certain environmental pieces that can be to benefit of you, but they can also harm you. Yeah,
and then as far as like other regular enemy types go, I think just with the different factions, like if they just have their, they don't have their, like I'm assuming when you have the different factions, they're just gonna visually look different, right? But they're gonna functionally do the same with like the just the regular goons, like the brutes and the regular henchmen with like guns and shields and shit.
Yeah. So
with those enemies, you could still have it to where like they just have like a different move string. So like every new faction you find, even if it's a very similar goon, they have different move strings that, would have like the regular dodges and then the attacks that you have to perfect dodge in those attack strings. And it would still feel fresh.
So to add on top of that, one of the concepts I was thinking of was upon certain levels of difficulties, it would unlock more combos. So let's say the animation teams, we get the enemy types to do like a an 8-hit combo. On normal, you would only get 5 hits, and then on hard you would get the full 8-hit combo.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that works. It kind of benefits the player for playing on a higher difficulty. That works.
Yeah, because you get like the full experience.
Maybe you could also have the Emerald Titan goons basically set up these pumpkin bomb, I guess, shooters, kind of like how you have the
Wait, so they set up traps?
Goons.
Yeah. There's an enemy type that sets. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's the specific. Yeah, like that would be the enemy type that would like
sets up
kind of like
traps
how
in the
enemies
environment.
set up like sentry guns against Batman in the Arkham games. Something like that could be interesting.
Yeah, it would be like
take out those traps.
I don't know if you've played Gotham Knights, but they have like these drone. Yeah. So like they have these they have these drone enemies in that game, and they like set up a drone and something. But like, for example,
can you interrupt them?
No, you can't interrupt them. But like I was gonna say with the trap setter guys for Goblin, you could interrupt them. But while you're dealing with the other enemies, if you don't interrupt them, then they'll place those mines throughout the environment. That way the players like engage and they're not feeling like fresh and relaxed.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, what do you think are some ways to switch up so that it's not focused on combat, or is that or is that a positive? I don't know, because I feel like that would get stale after a while.
You're talking about the level designs, right?
Yeah. So with the right, as opposed to like going from one arena to the next arena to the next arena, just something to break up the monotony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would just come down to the exploring to find upgrades.
What do you oppose as far as like a chase sequence or something like that?
Oh, I mean, yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I don't see the problem with that.
I
just
feel like
think
those have been done so many times. That's the only thing.
I mean, I feel like you need a traversal mechanic in place for a chase mechanic.
Well, it could be like a Crash Bandicoot. I don't know if you guys.
Oh, like a little platforming. If you want to have, I mean, if you want to, it wouldn't really make sense for Spider-Man. But if you want to have platforming sections,
what would make sense then? Because I'm trying to think how to.
I don't. It would just be kind of immersion breaking. I mean,
that's fair.
Maybe you take away his ability to crawl on walls. Maybe you do that because it's it's Spider-Man, but it's not Spider-Man. Because that's the only way I can think of a platforming sequence being engaging. But like even still, he has like fucking. Let's just. I mean, canonically, if you want to, not break the player's immersion. He can't stick to walls. Does sticking to walls need any? Like, does that break any combat mechanics that you want?
I'm not gonna have. I don't think there's gonna be any sticking to walls in the game.
That's so you can just have it so that he can't stick to walls, so that there's like wall running and platforming sections, and he's not using his web shooters because he wants to save his web fluid.
Yeah, that's a stretch. That's the only thing. And then you have to build out a parkour freaking mechanic system. I don't know, because I want to keep it within the mechanics of the game, so I don't have to build additional mechanics. If that makes sense.
I can't really think of anything else other than you go through the levels, explore, and find stuff to upgrade your character.
Okay.
You can even find like audio logs if you really wanted to like add to the depth of the characters or something, like the antagonists or some shit.
I think most people don't even listen to those things.
I mean, people do. I listen to them when I play them. I
guess an interesting question would be, how deep into like making cutscenes are you gonna go into this? Like, are there gonna be cutscenes, or is it just?
I would definitely like to have cutscenes, but I want them to be like rewards at like the end of levels and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not gonna go if you're not going to go crazy on the cutscenes in terms of storytelling, like there's a whole like the whole Elden Ring or Soulsborne like fan base, like they love going through stuff and finding lore, and it doesn't necessarily need a cutscene for it. Like
Okay.
Dead Space is another good example of like a lot of people will listen to the audio logs depending on how invested in the world they are. So if it's not a designed like the newer Sony games where they have a lot of cutscenes to try and tell their story,
Mm-hmm.
then it would just be more conventional storytelling where it's just like, or conventional video game storytelling where it's like, you find audio logs and things in the environment. Like even like Portal, like they don't even have audio logs in that game, and like your stuff in the environment that you can find that like adds to the world.
So the reward is
The reward is finding lore for the world, upgrading your character, getting XP, so you can like still upgrade your character. So that would be the reward for exploration.
gotcha.
And if you don't explore enough, then you're at risk of not leveling, like being up to par for the next level that you get to.
Okay. All right.
And it would also probably be best to like, keep the exploration like not so easy. So like you maybe it could be like because Sifu has this as well, where it's like a slight Metroidvania element where like you find something at a level that you have to now go and replay the first, like let's say it's the second level. Let's say you find a key in the second level, and now you have to go, like the Lego games, for example, like you can now go to replay the first level and unlock that door that you missed before. Like
So that's another thing I was thinking of. Would it be better? Because I was having it more of a linear arena, or would it be better as more of a
Metroidvania?
No, a roguelike.
Oh, a roguelite?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a roguelite would be definitely. Yeah, I feel like a roguelite would work. I mean, Sifu is kind of like a roguelite.
So, I just got a suggestion in chat. Someone said if you can't do cutscenes like a AAA thing, the best thing you can do is either visual novel style presentation or like the Ultimate
Like Max
Spider-Man
Payne.
game comic cutscenes.
Comic cutscenes. Okay. So
Not like a motion comic.
motion comic? Yeah. I liked the presentation of what was it?
Max Payne.
Not Max Payne. Max Payne was solid. The Lost Crown.
Ultimate Spider-Man?
Oh, Prince of Persia.
Yeah, Prince of Persia. Ultimate was cool too, but that takes a lot.
Gotcha.
Because it was like a moving picture a little bit.
Yeah. To go on a slight side tangent, as for like the music and the soundtrack, what do you have planned for that so far? Or do you not have like anything?
What do you mean as far as music and soundtrack?
Like, do you have anyone like ready to help you with the music or stuff like that? Or
I have two people in mind, but nothing solidified because once again the script isn't finished, so I don't know what.
Gotcha.
Obviously I want an opening theme and an ending credits and stuff like that.
Gotcha, because I have a friend named Cap'n Baka, or Cap'n Kaba, excuse me. He said he would have some interest in helping out with the music if you have any openings. So
yeah, is he good or is he like friend good?
Friend good.
Well, I haven't. Seen
You don't have to
stuff
say
yet.
you don't have to say on the street, but you can message me like, yo, this dude is trash. But I promise him I shot him out.
I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there because he does have interest. So if you want to check it out at some point.
Okay, yeah, bet. Absolutely. He's not going to charge like an arm and a leg, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah, because all of that's going to be, towards the end where I'm going to start looking for VO talent,
Gotcha.
people for henchmen, people for villains, sound effects. So yeah, all that. I've been taking, emails and, people just so I have them on the Rolodex for when that time comes. Announcer. What do we think about announcer? How do we feel on announcer? Unlocking announcers.
Is it gonna be like Bruce Campbell or something? Like
I actually am in the process. It's very unlikely, but because this mofo is probably going to charge the whole budget of the game, to try and get him to do a tutorial. But if I can't get him to do a tutorial, I'll get someone else like him. I have a friend of mine who does voice acting, to do a tutorial like, the Bruce Campbell tutorials.
Yeah, I mean, you could have like with the announcers, it would be in every level or just the tutorial.
No, it'd be in every level. So you'd have the narrator who would, give you the introduction to certain elements of the game, but you would also have the announcer who would be like critiquing you as you play. So if you get an awesome combo, obviously Jay Jonah would underplay it where, Mary Jane would be like, "Oh, you're doing fucking awesome, Tiger," or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would personally, if I was in your shoes, I would put that at the back end of the things to add because I feel like it would.
Well, that's a
it would
nicety.
probably- yeah. It'd probably just be like something that would take away from programming. I'm pretty sure, right? Like you'd have to program the stuff depending.
But would
on,
it be
like,
an enhance? Would it add to the experience, or you think it would be?
I mean, it would be
not really worth
it. Would be funny, but not necessary.
Could it be a selling point?
No,
On
I don't
top-
think that
no?
would be.
I
I
don't
don't think
know.
that would be a selling
Go ahead.
point. If fucking Spider-Man 3 was to come out and they were like, yeah, we're adding this, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. Anyways.
Got you. Because I heard what you guys said about the roguelites.
I feel like the roguelite would honestly be what would.
Would you consider Sifu a roguelite?
Technically, it is a roguelite because, like, if you die, you have to restart, right? But it's like
It's really hard to die.
I mean,
Because you have
it's
so
not,
many lives.
It's not necessary. Oh wait, no, you don't even restart the whole game. So the way Sifu is set up is like, well, I mean, at least for my playthrough, my first time playing the game, I went through it and I was at like, I only had 5 ages left. Otherwise, I had to restart the level that I was on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't think that you can, you think you need more ages to beat like the final boss or something, what the fuck? If you think you need more ages to beat like the final boss or something, that would be when you like, okay, I'm gonna have to restart this thing and try a new run. I think if you were to make it more like a conventional roguelite, where it's like, okay, you die, you get sent back all the way to the beginning.
All the way to the beginning? You don't hate games like that? So you mean like a Hades type of thing?
Yeah, like Hades, Have a Nice Death, God of War Valhalla.
Oh my lord.
I think. Well,
you don't think that's alienating to many people?
Well, it depends. It depends how you design the game, right? Like if it's very long, then it would be tedious to keep going back. That's why I think roguelites can either be hit or miss. I don't really think there's much in between with them. But like if you design the game in a way that it makes it feel like unique every level, so that it doesn't. The biggest issue that you would run into is repetitiveness, but if you think you have a strong enough system in place and strong enough like incentives in place, like like a normal roguelite will have like you open a door, you go through a certain combat encounter or something like that, and then you'll have like upgrade benches that you have like take 10 less damage, get more health, this and this. It's like when you have that, and like there would also be like permanent upgrades. If you have stuff that like maybe adds to the gameplay and gives you like a fresh new experience, like Valhalla does this really well. It's like you'll have a new set of runic abilities everything, or like a new set of stat glyphs or perk glyphs that you can play around with. It just comes down to how variated and fresh you can make every new run. But if you don't want to do it like that, depending on the length of the game, it could just be better to be like, okay, you die, you restart the whole level. Not necessarily that you go to the beginning of the game.
Okay. So the budget, you say if the budget allows for it, go roguelite.
Yeah. If you want it to be as replayable as possible, yeah.
Interesting. And then
I would also like, how Sifu has like the arenas update?
Uh-huh.
That's also something that's, I feel like, necessary for replayability.
What?
Having like just an arena mode that you can like, go in.
Okay.
Or like, because I think the like just like Arkham AR challenges, like they have like different combat setups that you go through and different goals to complete the challenge or some shit.
Okay. Now, would you have that
Even,
if you had a roguelike though?
It could be a different game mode. I mean, if you had a roguelite, it doesn't need to be that. Probably wouldn't need to be there.
Gotcha.
Just because the nature of a roguelite is like things are gonna be consistently changing depending on how you design it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't really need that if you had the roguelite, but if you go the Sifu route, I would say arenas is like definitely a very big thing for replayability.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Anything else you guys want to add?
I think I'm good. Can't really think of much right now.
Well, so I guess in terms of enemy types, I think you said something along the lines of if you support the game, you get like a custom one or something like that.
A custom enemy type?
Yeah, I can't remember what you said. It's something along the lines of something custom if you like support the game. I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe my memory's just foggy. But a suggestion that I had is that if one of the enemy types could actually end up being you as an Easter egg of the game.
Oh, is it?
maybe without the hat too.
Sure. Whoa. Maybe that'll be a super unlockable if you beat it on 100%, no damage.
Oh.
There we go. That's some incentive.
I mean, one enemy type I can think of. How would you feel about a horse with a gun?
A horse? Are you fucking with me?
No, I'm not.
A horse with a gun?
Nah, no,
This
fuck
guy.
it around.
Horse with the gun. We'll see. But if that's it, I appreciate it. If we use any of the ideas, I'll be sure to credit you guys.
All right.
In the credits. What?
Yeah, I would probably just prefer like the YouTube channel and stuff if you were to do that.
Okay. What you mean,
like instead of like my name, it would just be like my channel or something.
Well, obviously,
like
yes. It'll be just.
Yeah.
Wait. What's your channel? What is the channel?
Colin.
It's the same name.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it would be in the credits as Colin and S.K.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Bet. Appreciate it, my guys.
Bet. Yeah.
Later.
Later.
Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Wow, that went surprisingly well. I was anticipating it to be a giant fucking troll, to be honest with you. But all right. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, if the Monies allows for it, yeah, maybe roguelike. All right. Make sure to donate to Spider Combat, bro. Spider Combat, we got 38 days left. Excuse me. Did you reach out or did they? I reach out, bro. When it comes to the benefit of the Spider-Man community, bro, like I said, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Interesting. A lot of stuff there. A lot of interesting stuff, I will say. A lot of interesting stuff. 1080 SSD, that was interesting. Traps in the environment, I didn't think of that. Enemies that set up environmental traps, I didn't think of that either. I was thinking of the Doc Ock, the enemies and stuff like that, follow the. I wasn't thinking of it. It follows the mini boss that you fight, because I still don't know what the scope is, right? So I'm just gathering all the things that I can gather. And then upon, you know, whatever budget we end up with, then we compress that scope to meet the budget. Web strike used for long distances. Y'all are really set on that fucking air combo. That, I don't know, man. I just feel like that air combo just opens the doors to just so much craziness, bro. Because it can go really well or it can go really, really freaking bad. I wonder how difficult it is to set up in like air combos. I wonder. Because I want him to be, you know, jumping and all the thing, you know, jumping over here, jumping over there. I just don't want him being in the air doing. That just seems like, I get it's a game. But once again, stylistic realism. I think God of War did it, but if you look at the GDC of how God of War did it, bruh. The programming that went into that, insane. Just absolutely insane. Ricochet, that's interesting. Ricochet, impact webbing. Interesting. The web cartridges. I do like the web cartridges. I've always wanted to do the web cartridges. Okay. Pipes, manhole covers, trash can generators, tires, cars. Finisher on the ceiling. AI can help with the programming? All right, fair enough. I'll tell that to the programmer. Please use AI any chance you get. Longer you're out of combat, the more aggressive they get. That was interesting. I didn't think about that. The longer you're out of combat, the more aggressive they get. I like that. That was one from Colin. Enemies have a stun bar. Once they're fully stunned, they're able to take down. Okay. I think that was... The more taunt, the more enrage you get. I already had that. Russian roulette. Now, here's the thing. I was going to have bars for all of them. They're saying just have it be Russian roulette. Where, like, you don't know if you taunt this person one more time that's going to enrage them or it's not. That was interesting. I'm very much a square when it comes to certain things. I like to know what's happening, what's not happening. Some type of visual to relay that they're enraged. Okay. As opposed to, you know, make punches look... Okay, I read that. Combos increase high percent bar once you hit a threshold. Excuse me. Home cover. Now, the ricochet web was interesting. That was an interesting thing. Because that's very gamey mechanic. Where you use the ricochet, right? You throw up a tire, and as the tire's hitting people, you hit the web button, and ricochet webs off of the tire. Now, because the webs aren't going to freaking... it's not impact webbing, so it's just going to be like a web ball. That's interesting. So I want setups where that's happened. Bro, if you haven't played My Friend Pablo, bruh, what are you doing? My Friend Pedro, not Pablo, sorry. My Friend Pedro. Like, this is My Friend Pedro. This shit was fun. This is My Friend Pedro. Where is it? Hold on, skip this. Take him out. Right? I want that slow-mo. But you're Spider-Man. So that's what I'm going for as once... What did we establish? When does that happen? No regeneration. I can't remember when that happens. Yeah, this game is awesome. Maybe I make myself the final boss, a secret level. The secret final boss is me. Yeah, but this game is awesome. If you haven't played it, right? Kick. Look at that. That's what I'm thinking of. I want where you can maybe, you know, because I know Seafood's automated, but I like how it allows you to aim at who who gets it. But that's a setup. That's clearly a setup to have that, right? Just... flip. Definitely play this. I'm trying to see the part where you can hit a pan. You can hit a pan. Oh, damn. Oh, you can kick their head? I didn't even know that. Damn. You can kick their decapitated head. God dog. Right? Where is it? Where is it where you can hit the... Oh, damn. Kick the... There it is. See? See how the pan? How he was using the pan to shoot people, ricochet? So that's what he's talking about. Using like a pan or something to shoot web balls at people and stuff like that. Well, my goal... Okay, there it is. If he shoots it, right? If he kicks it and then shoots it, right? Look at that. That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, I was planning on voicing the spider. That's what I was planning on doing. Now, if I voice it and it's trash, then I'll find someone to voice it. And then I'll just voice an enemy or something. But that's what my goal was, to voice the spider. Woo! This is My Friend Pedro. It's an old game. What is this? This is an old... 5 years ago. Can't believe you haven't played this. This game is awesome. Look at that. Right? That's crazy. You kick it and then you shoot it. Right. You kicked it at his head. You kick it. He kicked this pan this entire time. Right, so you want certain moments like this where it's like just cool moments for the player. Like, it's an automated cool moment. There's no way you don't feel cool going on a zip line while shooting a gun. There's just no way. It's almost impossible for you to not feel cool while doing this. Impossible. You should put Static Shock as an ally. Oh, that's why I meant to ask him. I meant to ask him about side missions. Fuck. Y'all got any side mission ideas? Because that's what I was thinking of, like saving certain enemies. Not saving certain enemies, but saving civilians. Right? Or maybe that's part of the search and discovery, where you discover someone and then, you know, you save them and you get points for how many people you saved. 10 months in the army. Thank you, Brandon. Salute to you. Is your spider a hero or an anti-hero? It's very important going on, especially if you want an expansive story. Is my spider a hero or an anti-hero? He's a hero. At least that's how I view him. I think anti-heroes are heroes. I don't even consider them anti-heroes. I think they're just heroes. But yes, he's a hero. Do you see how it breaks up the gameplay though? Now you're doing a motorcycle. That's what I'm thinking of. Bro, it's been a minute since I played this. This is awesome. Like what? Yeah, this is crazy. I like this shit is awesome. I want stuff like this in the game. Just breaks it up, and it's also fun to play. Like, this is fun. Yeah, soundtrack is on point, everything. That's what I'm saying. Like, the sound can really kill your game, bro, if it's bad. Sound design can really kill your game. I did not know that the sound design could kill a movie that bad, but damn. Like, that's why I think a lot in Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 is like the impacts of the hit aren't as crunchy as, you know, Batman. And I get it, but I think they can punch it up without the crackling of a bone or something. It's not crazy graphical, but it's fun. I think that's the point. It's not like crazy graphics, but it's fun. Fun trumps the graphics. It trumps everything. Like on a skateboard, right? Like what? Like what? Shooting someone and then landing on your skateboard. Like little cool moments like that. That's why I want Spider Combat to be. Oh, damn. Right, all of this just flows perfectly. Bam! Onto another skateboard. This flow, this sense of flow. Of like punching this guy, web lining that person to that person, flipping over this. Like, this is... The game is just fun. I don't know. Right ricochet and that off to hit that dude. To hit that guy. The game is fun, bro. The game is hella fun. If you haven't played it, I highly suggest you play it. It's called My Friend Pedro. Awesome. My Friend Pedro. Oh boy. So got a lot of good ideas for the Spider Combat. I'm excited. Support it. I really want to get this to 50. Really want to get this to 50, bro. Really want to get this to 50K. If we can get this to 50K, because we raised, what, 36 in 30 days or something? Or less than 30 days. Yeah, bro. If we can get this to 50K, I think we can definitely cook. Everything they mentioned, we can definitely fucking cook. Definitely cook. And then with the community coming, bro, we can definitely cook, bro. We can definitely cook, Chef Boyardee. Now, I'm just letting y'all know, if I am a character in the game or a boss or some shit, the hairline will not be a 1-to-1 in real life. Just being honest. Just being honest with you. That will be my best appearance in the game. Okay? That will be post-Turkey, Lucas. Okay? Upon me going to Turkey and getting the shit fixed. I already hit up Akon. Me and Akon, we're gonna head over and we're gonna have a good time, right? Because his shit was all messed up. They did it crooked, so he has to get it redone. So I hit him up. I was like, yo, let me go with you. He was like, bet, let's go. We family, So I'm trying to think of a villain or something. Right? If you beat me far enough, I take off my hat and then I go like Super Saiyan or some shit. I don't know. Probably won't be anything crazy like that. Maybe I'll be Sin Eater, where I remove it and it's like, oh shit, it's fucking Lucas. But that's a fun idea. I'd be a secret boss or some shit. Because remember when people were like, yo, the real villain of Spider-Man 2 is Lucas. The real villain of Spider-Man 2 is fucking amazing Lucas. I was dying. Freaking hilarious. Chameleon? I don't know, maybe. Maybe I'm the one working behind the scenes. Anyways, that was a good stream. Thank you for everyone who supported the game. Thank you for everyone. Shout out to Colin and S.K. Good stream. I'll see y'all later for Disagreement Day, where we will watch. Bro, I was watching the Leonardo ones. I was laughing my ass off. That is probably the best laugh I've had this entire year. This entire year was at those dubbed freaking Ninja Turtle videos. That was, God, that was so good. Whoever enjoyed it, was y'all say GC. He proved himself on that one. Anyways, everyone, take care, stay safe. Be amazing. Don't drink and drive. And I'll catch y'all in a few. Adios, muchachos.